talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van range, supporting van owners to get the job done. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 1 minute past 10, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Mark Wood says he's gutted to be out of the Ashes with fresh knee problems. Surrey's Matthew Fisher comes in. talkSPORT's Darren Gough knows Fisher from his time at Yorkshire.
And he might actually be a bowler who could put the ball on the right length, like Boland does, like Doggy has, like Nisa did, and actually get some life out of these pitches.
England are 2-0 down with 3 to play. Aussie seamer Josh Hazell was also out for the series, but captain Pat Cummins should return for the third test in Adelaide next week. Under pressure, Real Madrid manager Xabi Alonso says you never know what might happen in future when asked about potentially taking over at Liverpool. Meanwhile, talkSPORT's Jason Cundy thinks Mo Salah's comments could be an attempt to get Arne Slot the sack.
He's under big pressure. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not saying he's going to get sacked, but he's under pressure. Or the January transfer window coming up, he feels his future lies elsewhere. He's dropped this bomb just as the transfer window's open.
Salah's been left at home. Liverpool are in Milan to play Inter live on talkSPORT tonight. After Man United's 4-1 win at Wolves, Ruben Amorim's described goalscorer Mason Mount as a leader.
It's a guy that leads by the example. It doesn't matter the situation. Mason Mount is always the same thing, training, talking, dealing with people around Carrington.
Winless Wolves go to Arsenal next. That's live on talkSPORT this Saturday night. It's reported West Midlands Police overruled UEFA advice not to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from Villa Park last month. Politicians are now scrutinising the force's handling of that Europa League game. And Turkish Super League players and one club president are among 20 people jailed as part of a growing investigation there into insider betting on football. More at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
People with a cold should be covering their mouth and nose in public as flu cases rise. And the chair of England's National Maternity Review admits she was unprepared for the extent of unacceptable care she found. More from the news team in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. For a limited time only, get 15% off a set of 4 selected premium tyres. Don't miss out and book today at quickfit.com and drive away happy every time. Conditions apply.
Storm Bram is bringing wet and windy conditions for all of us, especially western Scotland. Rain gradually clearing eastwards by late afternoon. Sunny spells after that and the odd shower. Mild temperatures.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology. How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White and Simon Jordan. We are live on talkSPORT. So Manchester United up to 6th with a 4-1 win at Wolves. Would Champions League qualification signal a real achievement for Amorim this season? Meanwhile, as expected, no Salah this evening for Liverpool in Milan. Can we safely assume we've seen the last of him in a Liverpool shirt? Also today, fresh from their F1 title win, McLaren CEO Zak Brown joins us in studio. How many second chances do Blackburn deserve? As Newcastle talk the talk, can they walk the walk? And following the Joey Barton case, should freedom of speech come without freedom of consequence? Jim White and Simon Jordan were live in talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
So there I am in Marrakesh yesterday at this very time in 23 degree heat.
Yeah, nice.
Sitting poolside listening to you live in talkSPORT.
Oh dear.
As clear as day. And with a bunch of Moroccans around me who are all saying, did Keown really select Odegaard as man of the match? I mean, they were as surprised as anybody else.
Yeah, I'm not that surprised, but I mean, we all know that Martin has an Arsenal leaning. We all know that, and we know that some of the things that come out of his mouth just don't make any sense. But the fact is, I don't see the case for someone coming on for 10 minutes and scoring a winning goal, get man of the match, or an equal, winning goal. It was a winning goal for Bundy, wasn't it?
I was listening to you.
I feel sorry for you if you felt the necessity to listen to the show. You should be out there relaxing.
I was
a well-earned break.
I was. I bumped it even in the souk in the main square. I was bumping into people who were trying to get the odd bargain or two and saying we enjoy Mr. Jordan and talks. Unbelievable. Raheem, if you're listening this morning, good morning. He boarded the flight as we flew out. Huge fan of yours.
It's depressing coming back to England. Isn't it bloody grim when you walk into England? Everyone's so miserable. Everyone's so downtrodden. The weather's
and it is different. No,
Michael Vaughan treatment, if you say that.
Beautiful few days out there. The Moroccans very nervous about drawing Scotland in the World Cup final.
Terrified, yeah.
Never mind Brazil. Scotland? Are you kidding us? And I bought a Hakimi shirt in a little bazaar. Moroccan shirt, number 2, Hakimi, one of our great players. Thank you very much. I get back to the hotel, no Hakimi on the back, no name. So I went back the following day and said to the fellow, you owe me a name. You owe me Hakimi. And he looked at me with a get out of my shop look. And I did. So there we are. It was a lively old show yesterday, was it not? You got through many, many things. And Mo Salah, I'll tell you this, Simon.
Well, that's a gift for the media.
Every single shop out there, if it's not a Hakimi shirt, it's a Mo Salah shirt.
It would be, wouldn't it?
You know, he's so popular out in that part of the world.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm not sure there's been many Liverpool shirts sold in the last day with Salah's name on the back of it, I suspect.
Yeah, that's true.
From a club shop, I suspect, anyway.
That's true. Just as a little from you to me, do you think he's played his last game for Liverpool as we progress?
Do I think he leaves? Do I think his departure is imminent? Yeah. Do I think he plays another game? Possibly. But, as we said and discussed at great length yesterday, I think it's an orchestrated set of circumstances, a negotiation in public, and I think Salah will go somewhere else, and Liverpool will get some money for him rather than none, as they did with Trent Alexander.
Well, we'll get to that because Arne Slot addressed the matter before they left for Italy, where they play Inter Milan tonight. No Mo Salah. We shall see. Manchester United, was it any great shock to you that they went and did a job in Wolves?
No. I mean, we look at their recent results and we say, what are they? They're, a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, but you're going to beat Wolves.
Yeah.
And, and that's nailed on. I mean, I thought they might have given themselves a little bit of a headache by allowing Wolves to equalise. But if you look at the Wolves team, and even their own fans gave up in the end, they gave up booing Cunha in the end. They got so fed up with themselves.
Yeah. Wolves are a different case altogether. On United, Simon, I look at it. Lose at home to 10-man Everton, win away at Palace, draw at home to West Ham, followed by a win over Wolves. Are they still a bizarre puzzle that none of us can solve?
Well, each game is unique because they're not consistent enough. They're not a good enough side to be consistent so you know what you're going to get. Beating Crystal Palace is no mean feat because they're not getting beat very often. They're a good side. They're difficult to play against. So you have to give Man United lots of credit for beating Palace. You'd expect them to beat Wolves. And Everton was just one of those games where they didn't have the nous or the wherewithal to break down a side that had gone down to 10 men and made it difficult for them. Look, United are better than they were, and so they bloody should be. Do I think they'll finish inside the top 4? Debatable. I've always felt they're finished inside the top 6. That was always my position at the beginning of the season for what my position is worth. So I'm not surprised they're there and thereabouts.
Yeah.
Because you cannot allow someone to continue to underperform and keep on telling you how awful it is and how this is the worst Manchester United side and how young he is as a manager and whatever else. He was going to eventually get some things right because there's good enough players to do so.
Yeah, but if they finish top 4, Simon, would that be a real achievement? Would that be a real achievement for Amateur?
Well, not for Manchester United, but for the Man United we've got now, yeah. Not for Manchester United that we live in memory of, but for the Manchester United that exists in front of our eyes.
I mean, they've no Europe to worry about.
No, but the Premier League is a tough enough task on its own. So, yes, it gives them an advantage, and yes, that should play into it. But if you're not a very good side, you can have as many advantages as you want. If you can't beat the opposition that's in the league, irrespective of whether they're playing 2 games a week or not, it doesn't matter. But United are capable of finishing inside the top 6. If they finish inside the top 4 to qualify your question, I think they'll have done well. And I think the Man United board will see that as definitive progress, and then he'll have to kick on and really kick on from there.
Yeah. Wolves, sorry Wolves fans, but you're a basket case, aren't you? Wolves remain bottom of the league, winless with 2 points after 15 matches. It's now 19 consecutive matches without a win and 8 defeats on the trot. Couldn't get any worse, really, could it? And Rob Edwards was far from happy, as you might expect, at full time.
To start the second half as we did was really, quite baffling. We gifted the 3 goals, the first 3 goals. It was honestly, it was like, watching maybe a kids game for elements of the first 3 goals that we gave away. And so yeah, if you do that at this level, you're not going to win.
Like watching a kids game.
Your team, you wanted it, coach it.
Yeah.
Your team, you wanted this job, go coach it.
No sympathy.
Well, you wanted the job. It was his spiritual home. Off you go then, sir. Coach the team. Turn them into a group of men then.
Yeah, but you've got it in for him after...
No, I don't. I think he gets... Not at all. I think that...
Yeah, you have.
I don't have it in for him. I don't admire his behaviour. So what I would give him is no empathy. What am I supposed to say? Oh, well, I hope he does well. And ultimately, I feel for him because he's got a group of kids. Coach them then. Make them better. That's what you were brought in to do. You're going to get relegated. It's how you get relegated that's quite important because it will leave a legacy for the football club that nobody really wants because you'll get bashed around the head with it wherever you go, that you were the worst team in the Premier League if you finished bottom with the worst set of points besides Derby or Sunderland, whoever it was.
Yeah.
And you go down to a division with no dignity.
But it doesn't matter how you're relegated, surely.
Of course
you
it
said
does.
Because you're relegated, you're relegated.
Because if you get relegated with spirit and fight, and you go down with spirit and fight, you give yourself an opportunity.
Who remembers that?
The players and the mentality that you're trying to enforce into the group to be able to bounce back. I'm not talking about the fans. I'm talking about what you need to do to bounce back. If you want to come back up, then you don't need. Then going down with a whimper and going down with a defeatist mentality and going down with your chins on the floor is not going to help you bounce back. Because the only objective in Wolves' mind now, if I'm the Wolves owner, I'm looking forward 18 months and seeing, am I going to get this team back into the Premier League? What does my financial future look like now in terms of what are the economics of what I've got coming up my way because I'm going down? Despite the best endeavours of not wanting to look at the reality of it and hiding behind the sofa like they used to do with the Doctor Who episodes, you are going to see relegation coming your way.
Yeah.
So you'll plan for that and then you'll look at it and go, right, getting relegated is a demoralising experience. Getting relegated where you don't win a game, getting relegated where you get your backsides handed every single week and your own fans feel sorry for you is not a recipe for bouncing back.
So is not being remembered for the worst Premier League team ever a tag worth fighting for?
Fighting for team spirit, fighting for the very thing that you're supposed to value. You're supposed to value the fans that you play for. You're supposed to respect the football club that pays your wages. So you go fighting. You go down with your boots on. You don't go down with a whimper. You don't go because tell you what, once you get stuck into that mentality of self-loathing or pity or whatever it is you get into when you're getting beat, which is it's not difficult. It's not easy. I accept it's not easy.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of the beast. That's why you're a Premier League footballer. That's why you're rewarded the way that you are. That's why you're applauded by football fans who turn up every single week to be served the weekly douse of misery. So you've got to do better. And the manager's job is to get it as best he can. As best he can as a football club that's fighting, and even if it gets beat, it's fighting, and it get beat for the right reason, not get beat because it's given up. The fans deserve better, and even the owners deserve better. The players themselves, they have the choice because at the end of the day, they'll sail off into the sunset, and some other poor bugger will take them because they'll see them as an opportunity to maybe build a side, whereas they'll escape from the consequences of their own behaviour.
Yeah, but Simon, with all due respect, the owners are part of the problem and a big part of it.
Well, the owners aren't.
They appoint Vitor Pereira, they sack Vitor Pereira.
Yeah.
They appoint Rob Edwards. It's grim.
Yeah, but ultimately the owners are still financing the football club to some extent. The fans will scream at this and say that they've sold every single player. Some of that's to do with PSR. Some of it might be to do with lack of appetite. Wolves,
they deserve what they get.
In the end, you always do. And very rarely do you not deserve what you get. Because either which way you put yourself in the way of it. Sometimes it's very misfortunate to be in certain circumstances. But certainly in football, maybe not in life, you don't always get what you deserve. But in football, you do.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you don't perform, if you don't show the steel, the courage, the belief and the discipline to be a football player, a football club that values its position, then you'll find yourself with 2 points at the bottom of the Premier League. Which is where they've done.
Good luck, Wolves. Certainly when it comes to getting what they deserve, McLaren got what they deserve in the world of F1 because they are the best of the best. And Lando Norris is the best driver around. The CEO of McLaren Racing, Zach Brown, will join us next. Jim White, Simon Jordan, live on talkSPORT with Selco with the treat goes.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion?
That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Deal on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. For the latest special offers, pick up this month's Real Deals in branch or view online at selcobw.com.
Well, let's pick out who's been the real deal this week with Selco Builders Warehouse. And to be quite honest, it was staring us in the face. McLaren Racing. They have won the lot. They stand out on their own in the world of F1, and so does their CEO, Zak Brown. And Zak has a book out, 0.7 of a second. It's all about F1, all about McLaren and what they do in this hugely competitive sport of F1 racing. And Zak joins us in studio amidst the publication of the book, and it all comes 48 hours after the conclusion of the latest F1 season, in which Zak oversaw another McLaren Constructors' Championship win and a world title victory for their driver, Lando Norris. Zak, good morning.
Thanks for having me on.
Good to have you. That must be music to your ears, all those achievements in such a recent time.
It was an awesome season. It was a nerve-wracking season. We clinched the Constructors' tied in world record time. But the Drivers' Championship went down to the grand finale. Fortunately, we had two horses in the race, Oscar and Lando, who were brilliant all season, and Lando got the job done.
I was asking you in the break there, Lando, I mean, he seems a real star. He's the one for the future. You were very quick to say, don't forget about Oscar. Don't forget.
Yeah,
I mean,
we've got two.
You love both of these guys.
Absolutely. This time it was Lando's turn. They both won 7 races, equal in qualifying. Could have gone either way, and I couldn't be happier with our driver lineup.
What do they need to do what they do? What do they need to be? I mean, with all due respect, they're kids, they're youngsters.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, it's obvious they have to have great hand-eye coordination. They need to be brave, etc. Right? That's the obvious. I think what people may or may not know about Formula One, they have to be highly intelligent, because to understand what these Formula One cars are doing and how the strategy plays out, they kind of need to be engineers. In fact, Oscar's a bit of an engineer by background. So I think that's the part, it's obvious what you have to do to be a great athlete, but it's the intelligence, understanding of how a race plays out, how to maximize the equipment you're in, that is probably somewhat unique to Formula One.
How do you keep them happy? I mean, Oscar wants to be Lando.
Yeah. So you keep them happy by treating them equally, fairly, equitably, great communications. But they have days that they're not happy, but that's sport, right? There's days, every team's not happy. They don't feel the team played well. Their teammates didn't play well. They didn't play well. The manager made the wrong decision on the sidelines. So they're no different, but their happiness is great, and their collaboration between the two of them is awesome.
It's some scene, Simon, isn't it? The F1 scene in general. We are no experts. I mean, Simon knows a lot more than I do. But looking at it, it's an incredible sport.
It is. I mean, I've got a lot of Italian friends who absolutely live and breathe motor racing. And I knew Eddie Jordan quite well. I spent time with Flavio Briatore, which I would not care to repeat. But
I could probably guess what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a fascinating sport because you watch the combination of cars. I mean, I owned a car magazine, so I spent time around it, but never dug deep into it. I spent some time listening to Russ Brawn talk about the development of his team.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating. And it's interesting and intriguing. It's a And given that what Liberty have done with it, it's now becoming a sport that changes direction, and there's new challenges awaiting it. New challenges awaiting your team with the rules change next year.
Yeah. You see, I'm really interested in how you've done it, Zach. So you became McLaren Racing CEO in 2018.
Yes.
That year, the team finished 6th in the Constructors' Championship, and there was no driver in the top 10. So what were you inheriting?
A great, iconic brand team that had lost its way with its sponsors, with its fans, the team itself, and kind of had to rebuild all that. I had the benefit of having this iconic, it's whether it's a Man United or New York Yankees, pick a team. So we had the fortunate of people love McLaren, but we lost our way. So went about fixing that, and it was all people and culture and getting everyone to understand their individual contribution to the team, that whether you were on the racing team itself or you're in finance or HR or communications or the commercial side, all of that contributed to the team's success. So when we won on Sunday, everybody felt they played a big role because they did.
That word culture, Simon, that Zach used, we hear it all the time, don't we? In other sports as well. And it's become a very, very important watchword.
You hear it all the time. You hear it good and bad. You hear the culture, perhaps at Red Bull had its challenges. So the culture of any environments produces an outcome, because you've got to have a straight line between what the CEO wants and what people beneath him understand is their responsibility, the expectation and accountability. And that is a culture that's either steeped in something that's substantial or it's steeped in something that can be divisive. And if it's a culture that's substantial, then you win.
Yeah.
And you achieve things collectively.
I mean, Zach, you started your career in the world of marketing with your own business, which became just Marketing International. How did you go from that to motorsports?
Well, it was all about motorsports. So prior to that, I raced for 10 years and I wanted to get into Formula One. Got close, but I wasn't good enough. But I had to do all my own sponsorship because I didn't have any sort of family resources or other resources. So I became very good at helping companies leverage motorsports to build their business. And so that then, when I stopped racing, became a business, sold that to Chime Communications, which was then sold to Providence. And Lord Coe was my chairman, Seb Coe, great guy, great, awesome athlete. And then I did a lot of business with Formula One teams, and McLaren, when I entered, had record low sponsorship. And so they brought me in to kind of commercially fix the business. And that then led to being promoted to the CEO. And here we are, back-to-back Constructors champions and driver champions. First time we've done that since 1998.
Congratulations on that. One quote stands out in the book to me, Zach. I'm used to being the boss. It suits me. I have no problem with delegation as long as I'm the one doing the delegating.
Yeah, I think, I'm used to being my own boss, but and it's funny, they say it makes it sound like everyone reports to me. Technically, they do, but I actually feel like I work for the team. My job is to empower them, to give them the resources they need, the direction they need. So I feel I work for the racing team. They don't work for me.
You raised an eyebrow at that, didn't you, when I read that?
Well, it's a nuanced one, because any fool can delegate. And it's about the outcomes you get back. Because ultimately, as a leader, leaders lead, and a part of leadership is to delegate. But the big thing about leadership is delegating to the right people and not allowing the outcome that you delegated them to achieve not to be returned.
You say anyone can delegate?
Well, yeah, because it's not difficult. I can tell you to do something. I can tell Luke to do something. Anyone can tell someone to do something.
Is that true, Zach?
I get the of course.
But that's why the quote's nuanced, because I think it would have more context than just saying I delegate for delegate's sake. That's not what you're saying, is it?
I'm empowering.
You're empowering, yeah.
Yeah. Here's one, Zach. I mean, what does F1 do well? What could it do better?
It could do everything better. And I think you've got to have that mindset in an organization, coming back to culture, whether you're a football team, a racing team, or a business. You can always do better. I wake up every day. I want to be a little better today than I was yesterday.
Every day's a school day, right?
Every day's a school day. And so it can do everything better. Now, it's doing everything really well right now. Specifically, since Liberty took over, the sport has focused on the fan. And in sport, if you don't have fans, you don't have sport. And so that's what I think the sport's done differently under the Liberty era. That's the Netflix. We've opened up shown people how our sport works. It used to be very closed. It was an exclusive sport. Now it's an inclusive sport, and it was a sport of heavy awareness. Now it's a sport of heavy engagement, and so that's been the big shift, and we just need to keep doubling down on that.
I'm seeing a bunch of questions coming in from ardent F1 fans, and I'm looking at your people through the glass, and I think, if I'm right, you are able to give us a few more minutes here.
Yeah. I'm following your lead.
Happy about that. Terrific stuff. 0.7 of a second. Zach Brown, who is the top man, of course, when it comes to winning in F1, and of course McLaren know all about that. We're back after this.
The Real Deal on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
Mark Wood says he's gutted to be out of the Ashes with fresh knee problems. Surrey's Matthew Fisher will come in. England are 2-0 down with 3 to play. Aussie seamer Josh Hazlewood's also out of the series, but captain Pat Cummins is set to return for the third test in Adelaide next week. Now, talkSPORT's Jason Cundy thinks Mo Salah's comments could be an attempt to get Arne Slot the sack.
He's under big pressure. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not saying he's going to get sacked, but he's under pressure. Or, the January transfer window coming up, he feels his future lies elsewhere. He's dropped this bomb just as the transfer window's open.
Salah's been left at home. Liverpool are in Milan to play Inter live on talkSPORT tonight. Slot says Salah's comments about being made a scapegoat for the team's poor form have made life harder for staff at Liverpool. After Man United's 4-1 win at Wolves, Ruben Amorim's described goalscorer Mason Mount as a leader.
It's a guy that leads by the example. It doesn't matter the situation. Mason Mount is always the same thing, training, talking, dealing with people around Carrington.
Wolves are still winless after 15 games and go to the Emirates next. Arsenal vs Wolves is live on talkSPORT this Saturday night. It's reported West Midlands police overruled UEFA advice not to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from Villa Park last month. Politicians are now scrutinising the force's handling of that Europa League game. More at talksport.com.
Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning. It's Jim White and Simon Jordan, and we are live on talkSPORT. And as always, so many of you telling me that you're watching the show live as well. So we're delighted about that. We're live on Chromecast, Android, Google TV, Prime Video, wherever you want to watch the show, you can. And we are with you this morning. And at the moment, it's time out from football, and why not? It's time out from a bit of boxing. We're talking F1, and we're delighted to be doing so because it is very much McLaren's time. McLaren Racing CEO Zak Brown is with Simon and myself in studio, and we're looking at Zak. We're talking about Zak's new book, which is out 0.7 of a second. But McLaren know all about F1 and about how to win in F1. And their man, Lando Norris, did that. A world title victory for their driver, Lando Norris. But all sorts of questions coming in. And Zak, if you're happy, incidentally, you came down to us today from where? You were up in God's country in Scotland, were you?
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
How'd I do?
You did well.
That was close.
In the break, Simon and I witnessed Edinburgh, as you Americans do. But Edinburgh is fine by me. And also, did I hear you say to him that you've just been playing tennis with Novak Djokovic?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was definitely a bucket list right there.
Wow.
Is he a big F1 fan?
Loves his F1. Big Lando fan, big McLaren fan. And that guy obviously is an immense talent on the court. But his brain, we learned a lot from him and took a lot of inspiration for how well he knows how to play the game. And I don't mean that technically, but mentally.
You see, that's interesting. Do you take a lot from other sports?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely.
Like an experience like that with Novak?
100%.
Yeah.
All different sports. And when you get the great athletes in, the common thing is how much they love the pressure. You know, we were under huge pressure, and they're all, give me the bat, give me the ball, give me the racket. Those the big ones.
Yeah.
And as I told the team, you know, when you dream, you know, I dreamt about baseball. That was my sport. You didn't dream about winning the World Series 10-0 in a 4-game sweep. You dreamt about Game 7, 2 outs, bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, you're down by 3 runs, and you hit a grand slam, right? That's kind of what we did on Sunday. So it was getting the team and the drivers and like, this is what we've dreamt about. We didn't dream about winning Monaco by a lap. You dreamt about passing Senna on the last corner around the outside with your brakes locked up.
Yeah.
So enjoy the moment and everyone stepped up.
Senna, Nelson Piquet, great names, aren't they, Simon?
The best.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how sports cross-pollinate, because I think the best athletes run to the fire. The best people run to the fire and take it on and see it as an opportunity rather than a threat.
Yeah. Zak, if you're good to go, we've got a massive number of questions
Fire
for you.
away.
I'm only going to pick 2 or 3, to be quite honest, because we don't have the time for any more than that. Jim, my son from the age of 5, he's now 11, wants to be in the McLaren F1 pit crew. That is his dream, and he's working towards it. With Zak there, any advice I can pass on to him?
Experience. And that's what I did growing up, was I tried to get as much experience as quickly as possible and build relationships. So he's 11, so he's got to focus on school. But as soon as he can get into internships, just get involved in the sport, get to know people, work hard, and then good things happen.
You want to react to this? Jim, I love F1, but F1 tickets are far too expensive for the likes of us, working class people.
They are not inexpensive. 1% of fans attend races, so we try and do things like we did at Trafalgar Square this year, which is bring Formula One to the fans.
Excellent. There's one for you. Could you please ask Zak, what change did they make to the car after the mid-season break so that it then favoured their favoured driver, Lando? He'll know what I mean. This is Neville in Belfast.
Now you build the race car for both your drivers. It's all about incremental gain. We started off with a great car, so the developments are milliseconds.
Right. Enough of the questions. Where does your main competition come from?
Oh, everywhere, because it depends what it is. Drivers, teams, sponsors, employees. I mean, you're fighting hard, which I think is one of the things that Drive to Survive shows so well is our sport. The competition off the field is as great as it is on the field. And it's very political. You're trying to, I'm not an expert in other sports, but we are trying to, our sport, destabilize other teams. So we're not just trying to make our team as strong as possible. And Dre, our team principal, he calls it poison biscuits. You are trying to, and you see it with the drivers, right? They talk trash to each other, and that's all mental to try and kind of get in each other's heads, and we do that at every level in the
sport. Do they all get on? Do they all like each other?
Oh, to varying degrees.
That's a no. That is definitely
no. Some do. It's just I wouldn't say all 20 get along, but there's got kind of little cliques.
What did you have to do, though? You had to knock Red Bull off their perch, didn't you?
Which is not easy because they're an unbelievable team. And Max Verstappen's, the greatest driver of the modern era.
Does the sport miss Christian Horner?
Yeah, in the sense of, he was unbelievable, team boss. Obviously, things went sideways the last couple years. I think he'll be back, but I think sport is filled with characters, good guys, bad guys, all different sorts. And I think that's what makes the sport fascinating.
What is your ethos of leadership, would you say? How does it fit in at McLaren? I mean, we in football here, what I'm driving at, Zach, is that we have player power. Is there such a thing as driver power?
Well, of course, because they set the tone for the garage. But I think what I'm most proud of is how well the 1,400 people at McLaren work together for a common goal, but know their individual roles, and how much during bad times, which we had this year, that's the test of a culture. It's easy when you're winning and things are good. It's when you have a bad day at the office, how do people react? And McLaren, our people, we get up off the floor very quickly.
So no driver is bigger than the team?
Nope.
Would you stamp that out if any driver thought that he was?
Absolutely. There are drivers, great drivers, that we would not have at McLaren because they don't fit our culture.
I mean, there were reports that at Red Bull, Max and his dad ran the show.
Max is an amazing driver, but, that's a one-car team. And we want to have a two-car team. I think Max Verstappen's a big personality, unbelievable driver, but I don't think the driver combo we have, there's a better combo on the grid, and I think part of the secret sauce of them getting along is the characters, who they are, and that's one of the big reasons why we selected them.
Zach, a final question. What do you want people to take from the book?
Work hard and great things happen. Mistakes are okay. Run towards the fire. I've been on fire many times, but it's made us stronger. And so just work hard. And that sounds quite easy, but it's amazing how many people don't.
Well done. Zach Brown, 0.7 of a second. We had more than that, didn't we? We had a good 15, 20 minutes there. Terrific.
Thank you very much.
Great having you on board. And the chief exec of McLaren Racing is Zach Brown. Life, leadership and F1, 0.7 of a second. I would recommend it. And if you're an F1 fan, I think it's a must. Zach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
Jim and Simon, live in talkSPORT. A whole lot more to get through. And of course, almost inevitably, Mo Salah, Liverpool, in action tonight. He's not, but Liverpool are.
And welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it!
You know, we don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion?
That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
It is Tuesday morning. Good morning, everybody. Jim White, Simon Jordan. Tuesday, December the 9th. Not exactly Marrakesh weather, but hey-ho, we're getting on with it. We're coming to you live, of course, on your TV, Samsung, Google TV, even Prime Video. You can watch the show as well as listen to it. And, of course, while I was away, it all broke, didn't it, over the weekend? Liverpool looked like they were going to win at Leeds. They didn't. They drew 3-3. And thereafter, Mo Salah spoke in the mix zone to a few reporters, and to say the least of it, the reaction to what he said has been seismic. Liverpool are away to Inter tonight in the Champions League. It's a game you can hear live on talkSPORT. Mo Salah has not travelled after being omitted from the squad following those comments after the Leeds draw. And basically he claimed, as you all know, the club had thrown him under the bus and his relationship with Arne Slot is now well nigh non-existent. So where does it go from here? Now, in the build-up to the game, obviously, Arne Slot has spoken, and almost inevitably, he was asked about Salah.
To an extent, it was a surprise for me that when I heard after the game that he gave the comments he gave. But as I said, it's not the first and not the last time that when a player doesn't play, he I'm not sure if he was emotional or not, but that he says something something similar to what he did. But I think my reaction to that is also clear, and that's that he's not here with us tonight. I don't feel my authority is undermined. Is that the way you say it? It's not the way I feel it. Usually I'm calm and polite, but that doesn't mean I'm weak. So if a player says have these comments about so many things, then it's about us as a club to react, and we reacted in a way you can see now that he's not here.
He's not there. Liverpool going without him. He says he doesn't feel undermined. Do you believe him?
Well, it's a very considered response. He tries to qualify all the responses that he gives by saying, I would assume that he was emotional, but I don't know if he's emotional. So he makes sure that he covers all the bases off. He makes his point without saying very much, which is, my reaction is he's not here. So if he doesn't feel undermined, he doesn't feel undermined. What he's being undermined by is the team's performance. And that's what's undermining him. And the fact that they've gone and bought players that haven't performed very well, and the team is sitting in mid-table and losing games and losing leads and generally not representing a defending Premier League champions in the way that you'd expect them to, with the build mentality that was expected of them, and people questioning now that did he really get away with it last year with Klopp's team? And was it really anything to do with him? Which is, of course, silly to say because it clearly is something to do with him. But how much of it was, his creation rather than inheriting a very good side? So those are the things that are undermining him. Salah is background noise. Big players make noise, and especially when they're negotiating with a football club because obviously something's broken down and they want to leave.
Yeah, but this is Mo Salah. This is more than background noise.
Well, I think it's background noise to an extent because Liverpool are a much bigger football club than Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah was going to leave at some point anyway, and they're going to have to replace him. It's all about how you leave. Nothing lasts forever. No one stays forever. I mean, the situation surrounding Salah was last year he had to be given a contract. He has misrepresented. He has created outcomes that are based upon outcomes for him. I mean, I listened to Jamie Carragher have his say last night, which of course he was going to say, and he was set up to say, because he's right to say some of the things he says, and obviously there's a lot of emotion and emotivity about the thinking. But relationships break down. I think it's not as straightforward as just not being picked. I think that's the part of it, because clearly he's not used to not being picked. And clearly I think there were strains in the relationship he had with Klopp. But things were going most of the time in the right direction. He was head cook and bottle washer. He was tolerated from not defending or working particularly hard for the team because he scored so many goals.
Yeah.
There wasn't this litany of £100 million players landing alongside him that were going to court and demand just as much attention. And he was at a different stage in his career. So all of these things can be true at the same time. And he also can be true that he has been, in part, singled out because there were other players that could have been put to the taken to task in the same way that he perhaps has been, like Kirkes, like the centre back Canoti, replacing him with
Canati.
Joel Gomez.
I think I heard you say yesterday it's a negotiating tactic.
Yeah, I think he probably.
It's a funny way to negotiate, isn't it?
Well, depends. What you're trying to achieve.
What is he trying to achieve?
Well, I imagine he's trying to. People would suggest he's trying to get the manager sacked. I would suggest he's trying to sever the relationship, because in any other walk of life, when a contract breaks, if you were in any other business and you find that this is not for you anymore, you can negotiate with your exit. In football, it's much more difficult because there's a transfer system and people are a public domain property. So you tend to do your negotiation, certainly at the level that Salah's at, in the public domain by creating unsolvable fissures. And this is unsolvable. You can't say the things that he's said and then just turn around and say, I'm sorry for them, because he meant them at the time. He said what he meant. He meant what he said.
Yeah.
And so he's pretty much taken everybody down with him. The only thing he didn't do was take the teammates down with him and turn around and say that they were throwing him under the bus as well. They're the only people he left unscathed.
So you're saying unsolvable was the word you used there, Simon. So reintegration isn't on. Is it?
Yeah, but reintegration has to be a two-way transaction. The player in and of himself I felt it was a strange deal to give him another 2-year contract, but that was the nature of the beast, because football does these things in this way. It's broken down. Liverpool will look at it now and go, we can still attract significant economic value. Not like Ronaldo. When Ronaldo was at United, and it was a tribute act to Ronaldo, wasn't it? He scored a few goals, but it wasn't the real Ronaldo. So they got him out the door and they didn't have any real commercial opportunity to monetize him. With Saudi in play, I would suspect the Saudis have probably provoked and poked and agitated, with all due respect to them, and perhaps he's got that fallback position, which is why he's become even more emboldened than he already is, because he did the same thing last year. Everybody that has ever been near a football club that knows anything about football knows that Mohamed Salah and his representation would have been spoken to last year. He sat in mixed zones telling people that he'd not had anything, not heard anything, not spoken to them. Everybody knows that's not true, irrespective of how he wants to represent it. What he wanted to do was curate an outcome that he got precisely what he wanted. What Mo Salah had last year was news that he didn't want to hear, which is he wasn't going to get 400 grand a week until he negotiated a bit harder, perhaps. Yeah. So the fact he was representing it. So he only speaks to the media when it suits him. It's about him. It's all about him. And some would say that's his job. But when you're in a team sport, people are going to take exception to it. Slot will probably have a challenge with him. He's having a difficult moment, and he doesn't need it made any worse by a player that really should be a leader.
I noticed no disciplinary action's been taken against him. Would you have fined him?
Depends what the ultimate outcome was.
Is he in breach?
We don't know. Yeah, well, of course he probably is, because there'll be a contract. There'll be conditions inside his contract which says he can't bring the club into disrepute.
So you'd fine him?
Well, it depends what the purpose of it is. If Mo Salah has come to me and I've sat him down and said, pack it in and get on with it, right? Then he can rightfully say, well, I've tried to exercise the best outcomes for all of us. You forced me into the public domain. So whilst I don't agree with it, I don't agree with what he's done at all. We're not privy to the process he's followed, because my nose tells me that he's well within his rights to have an issue with how he's being treated, but not do it in a public domain. And the reasons why he's done it in the public domain is not because he wants a solution.
Yeah.
He's not interested in the solution. He's interested in the problem. And the problem is he either wants to leave or he wants to get what he wants. Now, if we believe the Machiavellian trail that somehow Arne Slot's going to get fired by Mohamed Salah, who's a player that probably Liverpool seeing going out the door in a year's time anyway, then I don't subscribe to that view. That's the traditional thinking that, the player speaks out because he wants to get the manager to sack. I think the player would quite happily leave Liverpool now and get what he wants somewhere else.
2 wins in the last 10 league games. If results on the pitch continue to falter, do you honestly think we could see a situation, maybe the end of January, both Salah and Slot have left?
Maybe. Maybe. You can't keep losing games. It depends what they think of their manager. It depends what the Liverpool hierarchy think of these travails. You know what Man United think of their manager. They sat in a room and told us that they're going to give him as long as it takes to fix the problem.
What do you think they'll be thinking? I mean, John W. Henry and Werner, are they not thinking, Arne, what the hell's going on?
Probably. I mean, they're big enough and experienced enough to know that they're dealing with high-profile athletes. They've got multi-sports ownership models. They compete in baseball. They compete in football. They know what they're doing. This won't be a huge surprise. It might be a disappointment to them. It might be an irritation and an agitation. You know, the bigger agitation is, why do we suck on the field? And we've spent £450 million to suck, and what's going on there? And can we fix it? Mo Salah was always going to go at some time. I would suspect that Mo Salah was going to go at the end of this season anyway, because Liverpool are building for the next version of Liverpool. He was fortunate at 33 years of age to get another contract for 2 years with the kind of money that he's getting in English football. He can get it in Saudi because it's there to be done. But in English football, at this stage, with no resale value to him potentially, everyone, especially Liverpool, because Liverpool look at the economics of things. Despite the fact they spent 450 million quid in the summer, they spent 450 million quid because they spent nothing in the last two windows comparatively.
Right. I mean, Jimmy Carragher, amongst other things, and I found it hard to sort of stay with him last night with what he was saying. But he was basically saying, Carragher was saying that Salah's trying to get Slot sacked. You don't see it that way?
Well, I mean, that's Jamie's thoughts, and he's entitled to it. And it may well be, he may well be trying to land some blows on Slot. But I think the bigger issue is that it's broken down. Now, if he's saying if he has indeed followed through processes that none of us know, and I believe that there's a suggestion that he hasn't had this conversation, but if he's gone internally to Liverpool's hierarchy and been told by Liverpool's hierarchy, get on with it, you're a player, do as you're told, which is what they should be saying, by the way, because they should be supporting the manager, then the player either sucks it up, or in this day and age, whether we like it or we don't like it, we've lionised these players, we've made them into economic islands in their own right. They get paid F-off money, so they walk around telling everybody to F-off when it suits them.
Yeah. I mean, we know what happened years ago in the Chelsea dressing room. When they felt like it, they got together and the manager went.
Yeah, but that's because that was...
I mean, Salah's powerful. Yeah, but it's Slot teetering.
Yeah, but I mean, the predominant time they did that was with Villas-Boas, wasn't it? And he was weak, and Roman Abramovich brought him in to break up the dressing room, break up the Terry, Ashley Cole, Frank Lampard cartel that they thought needed to perhaps have too much player
power. They cemented a few of them, though.
And then the owner cemented them, because the owners wouldn't have entertained that idea. And I'm pretty sure that some of the managers that got fired at Chelsea weren't necessarily managers that the players wanted to get fired.
So finally, I mean, briefly, Simon, while Liverpool are doing what Liverpool do, trying to win a football match in the Champions League,
that's the thing.
If you're part of the hierarchy and you're speaking to Salah's agent, what are you saying?
Let's get rid. Let's find a solution that works for the club and you, because we are Liverpool Football Club. We're one of the biggest football clubs in the world. We helped create a platform where you were able to excel, and excel you did. You've been rewarded for it. You've not played by the rules. You're not interested in playing by the rules. And we need to change the direction of travel. So we need to sort a solution that enables you to go off and continue to be held in high regard here. We can get some economic return, and we can move on supporting our manager, rebuilding what's left of our season.
Okay, I'll put it to Liverpool fans this morning listening in. I mean, are you comfortable, if it comes to that you have seen the last of Mo Salah in a Liverpool shirt? Is that okay by you? Give us a call. 03717 223344 at 11 o'clock.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Score a winning hat-trick of performance, payload and price. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 11:01, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Under pressure, Real Madrid boss Xabi Alonso has been asked about managing at Liverpool in future. He says there is a bond with his former club.
But at the moment, this is my place. This is where I want to be, and in the future, you never know what could happen.
Alonso's job on the line with Real Madrid. They've won just one of their last 5 in La Liga. Man City are there tomorrow night. Tonight we've got Inter versus Liverpool. That's live on talkSPORT. Meanwhile, Mo Salah's posted a lonely gym selfie. He's turned up for training at Melwood after being left out of that trip. There's been another ACL injury in the Women's Super League. England and Spurs forward Jess Naz is out for the season. She needs an operation. Meanwhile, England captain Leah Williamson is back from her ACL injury tonight for Arsenal in the Champions League. McLaren's CEO has told White and Jordan how to keep 2 top drivers happy.
Treating them equally, fairly, equitably, great communications. But they have days that they're not happy, but that's sport, right?
Zach Brown thinks Oscar Piastri will be McLaren's next world champion after Lando Norris won the title on the last day of the season. Questions about McLaren's apparent favouring of Norris were raised in the Australian Parliament. Darren Goff doubts we'll ever see Mark Wood in an England shirt again. Wood's been ruled out the rest of the Ashes with fresh knee problems.
If he comes back and plays another test match, I think he'd be over the moon with that. But as I said, I know what it's like. I didn't play for such a long time, 2 years. Tried to come back, and I played in 2 tests, and I wish I hadn't.
Aussie seamer Josh Hazlewood's also out for the series, but Pat Cummins should be back for Adelaide next week. There's more build-up to the 3rd test on talkSPORT's Cricket YouTube.
talkSPORT News.
People with a cold should be covering their mouth and nose in public as flu cases rise. And a report on NHS maternity failings highlights discrimination against women of colour and working-class mothers. More from the news team in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With over 600 centres across the UK, most of which open 7 days a week, we're always there when you need us. QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
Wet and windy with Storm Bram, especially in western Scotland. Rain gradually clearing eastwards by late afternoon, leaving sunny spells and the odd shower. Mild temperatures.
So, we are almost ready to go. Ian Danter here in the commentary box. But it is all about whether Dean Saunders can retain the talkSPORT World Championship. To win the leg. She's got it! Gets it! Double 9! He refuses the handshake.
Good morning, everybody. Tuesday, December the 9th. It's Jim White and it's Simon Jordan, and we are live on talkSPORT, live on your TV as well. So if you want to watch us, you can. And many of you are doing that. I was even in Marrakesh at the weekend, and a couple of people came up to me and said how much they enjoy watching us on Prime Video. Can you imagine it? Yeah, surprised me too. So we're live all the way through until 1 o'clock. And of course, almost inevitably, we're dwelling for the moment on the Mo Salah situation at Liverpool. Liverpool, of course, in action tonight in the Champions League, away in the San Siro against Inter Milan. It's a match you can hear live commentary of on talkSPORT. No Salah. He hasn't travelled. He's not going to be featuring. He's back here, one would think, in Liverpool, and we'll watch on and listen on like everybody else. Before we take some Liverpool calls, and there are many, so we'll select a few of you. And thanks for taking time out to call us. 03717 223344. Let's get the latest, as we understand it, on the Salah situation. My colleague here, talkSPORT chief football correspondent, a man freshly back from the snows of Washington, D.C., Alex Crook joins us live. Alex, good morning. Where are we at with it? What are you hearing from inside the club at the moment? And how reliant is Salah and his representative and everybody else that Saudi clubs are going to come in for him?
Yeah, good morning. Not so much Mo Salah, but no Salah as far as Liverpool are concerned with this trip to Inter Milan, which was a tricky game on paper anyway. And I've got to say the absence of Salah does make it more difficult because Cody Gakpo is not fit to travel, nor is Chiesa, who's had a pretty big impact off the bench over the course of the season. So they're not exactly blessed in the forward areas, but in terms of Salah, it's been a quite extraordinary 72 hours since the outburst outside Ellen Road. My understanding was always that Salah would be omitted from the travelling party for Milan. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't feature against Brighton in the Premier League at the weekend either. That was due to be his last game before reporting for African Cup of Nations duty. I would expect potentially that he might be released early to go and link up with the Egyptian team to avoid what would be an awkward scenario for Arne Slot heading into the weekend. In terms of his future, I think you're right, Jim. The Saudi Pro League looks the most likely destination. It's hard to see any other top clubs around Europe being able to match the pay packet on offer in the Middle East. Al Hilal are the most keen, I'm told, in taking Salah. I was expecting that to really ramp up in the summer, but it could come as early as January now. My colleague Ben Jacobs was reporting yesterday there's also interest from the MLS in the form of San Diego and Chicago Fire, but no formal contact from them to Liverpool at this moment. And we've seen that lonely selfie, as the news bulletin alluded to there, of Salah in the gym at Melwood. I don't think it's a coincidence that he's managed to get the "You'll Never Walk Alone" Liverpool slogan in the background. And again, he's taken to social media pointedly. He wants out. I don't think there's any question about that. And I think the Saudi Pro League is his most likely escape route.
I mean, Simon sitting alongside me as always, Alex, you know, he's looking for a solution. Liverpool want some kind of a solution. But if no solution presents itself in the person of a Saudi club, come the end of January...
But it will. It's about what the deal looks like and how it gets structured. I mean, people can be offended and upset and aggrieved by the fact that he's come out and said the things he said, or they could actually look at it and go, well, he's done us a favour because it's an economic value in this transaction, unlike Trent Alexander-Arnold, who told everybody who actually loved the club and engineered a free transfer. So you've got somebody that's now leaving Liverpool, that there's some economic value in. He's on the cusp of going from being a great player to being a great player that can't operate at the highest level for much longer. So Liverpool need to be sensible about what they're doing, and the sensible situation now is the player's done them a bit of a favour. I don't like it. I think it's a way to operate, but it's the way that the world now works, and high-profile footballers can do this. The Saudis can easily, without breaking sweat, meet his salary requirements. So they can also meet potential transfer requirements from Liverpool. So if Liverpool want to see some economic value out of this player, and, you know, once upon a time we were talking about the Saudis bending over backwards to perhaps spend 150 million quid on him. Those days may well have gone now. But if there's still 50, 60, 70 million quid on the table, which is not a difficult reach for the Saudi Pro League in any shape or form, we know all the material benefits of it. We know that he's a high-profile Muslim footballer that will steer into a narrative that the Saudi Pro League would like to play on. We know that he's still considered to be one of the best footballers in the world. So all of those things play into an outcome. There will be an outcome. There has to be an outcome because both sides recognise that there needs to be an outcome. It's about how you arrive at that particular point and which pill someone's going to be taking.
It's going to be interesting, Alex, to hear how much he talks while he's away on AFCON duty with Egypt, because I'm just back from Morocco and it was the talk of the place there. So they're all talking about Salah and they're all wondering, is he going to stay at Liverpool? Because in Morocco, like so many other countries, Liverpool are loved, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a massive story, not just in this country, but as you say, around the world, with the AFCON on the horizon. I don't think he's going to go quietly, Mo Salah. I do agree with Jamie Carragher that we only hear from him when he wants a new contract or he's trying to make a point to the football club. But obviously, he speaks his mind. You can't argue with that. I do think it was disrespectful what he said, not just to Arne Slot, but to his teammates, to the supporters, and certainly to his paymasters at Liverpool. I know they were taken aback by just how outspoken he was. But he wants this move, as I say. And I think what's really interesting is there's been a lot of speculation about Arne Slot. Liverpool have had a really poor start to the season. Nobody can get away from that. My understanding is the board are firmly behind the manager. And if anything, I think Salah might have done Arne Slot a favour here, because I would expect Liverpool now, the hierarchy there, to double down in their support of Arne Slot. So if Mo Salah thought he was going to help engineer an exit for the manager, I think he'll be mistaken.
OK, Alex, for the time being, thank you very much indeed. I mean, are Liverpool fans comfortable that it's being said with a degree of certainty that we might have seen the last of Mo Salah in a Liverpool shirt? Where do Liverpool fans stand on that? Ian, good morning. Big Liverpool fan. What's your take on it?
Personally, I think he's got a wee bit of a right, I think. No, I don't know if if saying right's the right word, maybe, but I can understand where he's coming from. I genuinely didn't agree with it myself. I think he probably should have done it behind closed doors. Went to a slot and maybe spoke about some stuff and got things out. I think a massive part of it is today with the loss of Jota. I think the whole team, personally, the original players, know the new ones coming into the club, but I think they're all kind of struggling. I think for it, and I think it's a massive part of what's going on with him, with no performing, no being like the player he has been for us over the years. I think he deserves a wee bit of time. I think again the club's done massive stuff for him as well. Done a lot. He's done a lot for the club. He's probably, I think, one of the players that you didn't really get very often now that showed loyalty to clubs now.
Yeah.
There's not many people play for your club badge anymore, Ken. They're quite happy to go out the door. Similar to what Trent maybe done, I suppose,
Yeah.
to a degree.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't help as well where Slots came in and almost kind of took the team to bits, I think. Ken, I didn't think players that he's got rid of shouldn't have went, and I think that he's no bought the players for the positions we needed. Ken, no bringing in centre halves, getting rid of Konza.
Okay. That's not a Scouse accent, is it, Ian?
No, it's Scottish, mate. Scottish.
Where are you?
I'm currently in Edinburgh.
Okay, mate. Ian, thanks for the time and thanks for the call. Thanks very much. Hassan, big Liverpool fan. Are you comfortable, Hassan, that you might have seen the last of Salah in a Liverpool shirt? Good morning.
Hi, good morning, guys. Long-time listener. So I think we have seen the last of him in a Liverpool shirt. I was actually at a PSV game a couple of weeks ago, and his body language was off, and everyone noticed it. People were talking about it. I think he's engineered the situation. And sorry about the background screaming. That's my 2-year-old.
No problem.
I think that he's engineered the situation for whatever reason. A lot's been said about Diego Jota's tragic passing, but I think if Mohamed Salah was really that affected by it and the club has been affected by it, then you don't really need to make that situation worse by doing this. It really doesn't help the morale. I think he wants to go. I think his agents probably had a word in his ear. I think this has been a long time coming, and we're just seeing kind of the culmination of it. That's just my take on it. We know that football at that level is not really a place for sentiment. The only people that are sentimental are probably the fans. So a parting in other ways, I think, at this stage is inevitable. And to be honest, I thought that when he signed the contract, that it was just, kind of a stay of execution.
Okay. Oh, Hassan, thank you very much for that degree of pragmatism. In that
I think
call.
he's right. I think the tragedy of football is the first caller's perspective is that the player has an entitlement to voice the sentiments that he's voiced. He didn't do a Liverpool favour. He was rewarded and applauded and remunerated and given huge contracts over the year for his achievements. So when the player comes out and says the things that he says, I don't think that anyone should be suggesting that that's validated. And that's a tragedy of football, that we allow people to get away with things and create this culture around the fact that they are, in any other workplace, in any other walk of life, if somebody spoke about the environment he was in the way that this player has spoken about it, there'd be consequence. Fans come on and say, well, I think he's fair on that basis, and I think it's right, and I think he has every reason to be thinking the way he has been. No, he doesn't. If the only thing you can take in life is plaudits, if the only thing you can take in life is rewards, then what kind of person are you really?
Yeah.
And the fact that, he made some observation about Harry Kane and saying that, I'm being singled out, I'm being picked out.
Yeah.
If Harry Kane had not scored in 10 games,
sure.
The media were cheering him. That's not true. When Harry Kane was stinking the place out last year in the European Championships, the media were all over getting him out of the team.
He was getting castigated, I remember it. When we come back, the other side of this break, it's a simple question going into it. Should freedom of speech come without freedom of consequence? We'll look at that next.
So, we are almost ready to go. Ian Danter here in the commentary box. It is all about whether Dean Saunders can retain the talkSPORT World Championship. To win the leg. She's got it! Gets it! Double nine! He refuses the handshake.
Tuesday morning. Thanks for the texts and the tweets and the messages. Thank you so much. We're live. We being Jim White and Simon Jordan, live on talkSPORT, live on your TV as well, coming to you live. You can watch the show as well as listen to it. Former footballer Joey Barton has been handed a suspended prison sentence for social media posts about broadcaster Jeremy Vine and TV football pundits Lucy Ward and Eni Aluko. Barton was found guilty by a jury at Liverpool Crown Court of sending grossly offensive electronic communications with intent to cause distress or anxiety. The trial heard that he had crossed the line between free speech and a crime, with 6 posts on X, on Twitter, including comparing Aluko and Ward to serial killers Fred and Rose West, and calling Vine, and he referred to him in a word that was slang for paedophile. And those references came between January and March in 2024. Barton was given 6 months in custody and suspended for 18 months. Those 6 months suspended for 18 months. He has also been ordered to do 200 hours of unpaid work in the community and pay more than £20,000 in costs. On sentencing, this was Judge Menery KC.
Robust debate, satire, mockery, and even crude language may fall within permissible free speech. But when posts deliberately target individuals with vilifying comparisons to serial killers or false insinuations of paedophilia, designed to humiliate and distress, they forfeit that protection. As the jury concluded, your offences exemplify behaviour that is beyond this limit, amounting to a sustained campaign of online abuse that was not mere commentary, but targeted, extreme, and deliberately harmful. And these convictions represent a clear rejection of your assertion that your conduct was merely robust debate or provocative observation.
The judge, Simon, said while he was convinced the custodial threshold had been crossed in this case, he was prepared to suspend those jail terms. He noted Barton had taken steps to moderate his online behaviour, but added, only time will tell whether this resolve endures. 2-year restraining orders were issued against each of his victims, which including publishing any reference to them on any social media platform or broadcast medium. Following the verdict, a Cheshire police spokesperson said the force hoped the case would deter others using social media to share, quotes, abusive and hateful messages. The court also heard statements from Aluko and fellow pundit Lucy Ward describing the impact of Barton's posts. I'll get to that. But Simon, should freedom of speech come without freedom of consequence?
The free speech advocates, Toby Youngs of the world, with the free speech unions, would say that it doesn't have many boundaries. And of course, there's always the argument that, you can't run into a burning building or an empty building shouting fire, and that's always the case that's utilised. Free speech without consequence isn't really free speech, is it? But there is also boundaries between what you can say and what you should say and what people will deem to be offensive. I mean, no one has a right to not be offended. It's about whether it becomes a criminal act. When you look at the arguments that are being advanced with Joey Barton, I can see very clearly the situation, around Jeremy Vine. I mean, Jeremy Vine is a sanctimonious sod, but you can't call him the names that he called him. And there was a situation.
In your opinion? Well,
in my opinion, yeah. I'm not suggesting I've done a straw poll and done a vox pop on it. I'm the one that said it. And so what Joey Barton has done is called him a name that's indefensible, because that is a criminal offence by calling somebody that particular name. We saw it previously with Lawrence Fox and a young lady called Nicola Thorpe, where she called him a racist and he called her a paedophile. Now, he got convicted for that, or he got found guilty of that offence, because you can't call somebody a paedophile because that's a criminal offence. When I look into the territory, I can't understand why there is a sustained campaign, because I think that plays a part in the sentencing scenario surrounding his ongoing onslaught of observations about Eni Aluko and the other young lady. I don't know whether there was a to and fro.
Ward.
Yeah, I don't know whether there was a to and fro. Joey Barton holds views that some people would concur with, not the manner in which he expresses them. I felt that he had some valid points, not the manner in which he expresses his points. When he talked about some of the female commentary 18 months ago, and had a very fierce debate, I think, on Piers Morgan's show, and I think a friend of mine, Bianca Westwood, was on that show and defended the position of women commentators. I felt that he killed the argument for people, because there is an argument about people being shoehorned into jobs, people not being good enough for jobs. But if you raise that argument, and you raise it the way that Joey Barton does, then you steer into the territory of misogyny. And if the word misogyny or racism is uttered in any sentence, even if it's just an allegation, then all of a sudden it becomes a challenge.
Yeah, but Simon, it's also the impact it has on those that he is talking about. Lucy Ward wrote that the posts had tainted, quote, "the joy I once felt in my career." She said, "I'm afraid at work and in the stadiums where I commentated, and I feel exposed and vulnerable." She also wrote that her young nephews had seen the hateful messages and described the trauma caused to them.
And that is very unfortunate, and I don't diminish that.
Aluko describes his post as the most abhorrent and extreme criticism I've ever received in my life.
And again,
did these two women do anything to deserve that?
Well, I don't know what the to-in throwing was. I look at it and say,
they clearly didn't.
I don't know. I mean, I've listened to Eni. If you want to listen to Eni in full pelt, listen to the Heretics podcast, and you might find some things that you strongly object to. But the fact is that we are not in a world where being offended in my view, is a criminal offence. People run around left, right, and centre, and every time they don't like somebody, they call them a Nazi, or they don't like their political views. I think that's quite offensive, because that's one of the worst regimes that ever existed. Now, you can see the list of offences, you can see the list of things he's done. The big thing for me is why this sustained attack. If he believes, and I think there are questions to be asked about DEI initiatives. I do think that people do get shoehorned into jobs. I do think there's an element of tokenism. I do think some of the things that Joey Barton has said has some resonance. The fact that he says them and says other things that are deeply offensive. I've seen some of the other things he said that are deeply offensive about Eni Aluko, and there's no excuse for them. Now, whether those are criminal offences is the debate, or whether there's a consequence in some other methodology. I would suspect the online harms bill and the fact that that's been implemented at a very early stage, having a high-profile case like this, will support the introduction of it. The fact that the ladies in question wanted to bring the actions themselves against him. I don't know what the trail was. I don't know whether this sustained campaign was merited. In terms of responding to what they may be saying to him. I wouldn't approach it this way. I wouldn't say these things that Joey Barton has said. And I don't think that some of the things he said have any resonance. But that doesn't mean all the things. I mean, if you don't like Eni Aluko, I don't particularly think Eni Aluko is a good pundit. I think you can have a look at Eni Aluko and you can see some of the nonsense she uttered on me when she came on the show once about the idea that Aston Villa were conspiring with Man City to buy a player and fixing a deal. And you can see her on the Heretics podcast, and you can make your own decisions. But you are allowed to have that opinion. You're also allowed to have an opinion if you don't think DEI is a good initiative. And and that doesn't make it offensive. But if you start going into the territory of saying some of the other things he said about what she looks like and who may have been intimate with, then you are moving into a territory to which I think is unacceptable.
For which he should be consequenced. And he has been consequenced.
But none of these have been referenced in the list of charges from what I've read. And when I read the argument about he thinks that DEI is a bad initiative, he thinks it all stems from the George Floyd thing, he thinks the appointment of some of these pundits is tokenistic. By the way, you might not like those views, but he's entitled to have them. But I don't understand why that, in my view, I don't understand why that's a criminal offence.
But Yeah, but he can't go gung-ho. Nobody can sit down at a terminal and say whatever they like to whatever extreme about whosoever they want. There has to be consequence eventually. Barton has said he's sorry for the impact of his posts on Ward and Aluko, adding he would, quote, probably not do it again if he had his time again. But he felt the pair were, quote, strong enough to deal with his criticism after their work on an FA Cup game between Everton and Crystal Palace on ITV in January 2024.
Yeah.
Should he be taken off social media altogether?
That's for social media companies to determine. I mean, I don't particularly think so. I think people say awful things to one another, both in society and in life. I spent the last 10 years of my life being told I'm a failed football club owner. Anybody concerned about the reality of the effects upon my mental well-being? No, because it's the nature of the beast that we live in. We put ourselves amongst the public domain. You get good and bad. Nobody complains about the good. And when you get bad, then people complain about it. I'm afraid that sometimes you have to be a little bit more resilient. You have to ignore what people say. You have to have confidence in yourself and belief in the system. I mean, ultimately, you know, whether Joey Barton's uncouth way of speaking is a criminal offence is a debate, and we have to be careful which road we're going down. I think that having an opinion on someone which is negative is not the same as being as a criminal offence.
Yeah,
people are allowed.
But when you get into the areas of uncouth and totally offensive,
yeah,
then you're in a very dangerous area for which you have to be consequent.
To some extent, who's the arbiter of that? And by the same token, nobody has the right not to be offended. One of the criminal charges that's been stuck with him is the racial aggravation around the fact that he questioned the validity of DEI and the fact that it all stems from the George Floyd nonsense, quote unquote, his words, and that he thinks it's tokenistic rubbish. Well, that's an opinion. He's allowed to have that opinion. You might not like it. So are we saying that the only opinions that you're allowed to have that don't make it a criminal offence are the ones that people agree with, that are the subject of them?
Yeah, but you surely cannot agree with what he said about the likes of Ward and Aluko.
Well,
or what he said about Jeremy Vine. I know Joey. You know Joey as well. I remember when Joey was sacked by Rangers, and Joey came on talkSPORT and he spoke. So he's Marmite.
I'm no admirer of Joey Barton's. I've been on the receiving end of some of his tripe, right? But I didn't take offence to it because it's not worth my time to be offended by someone as inconsequential as Joey Barton. But he's allowed to have that opinion. He's allowed to have it. So the fact of the matter is, I mean, people use reference points all the time. He's basically saying, you know, the Fred and Rose West, you know, the observation he's made there is that they're murdering the commentary. It's uncouth, it's unnecessary, it's unpalatable. But is it a criminal offence? Clearly not in that instance. It wasn't, but only the posting of their faces on their bodies was. And the idea that he questions the point that I talk about, which is the idea that he doesn't value DEI, he doesn't value these things. Now, you might not like that, but is that a criminal offence? Because according to this, it is.
But somebody who goes after you like that on social media, you wouldn't take offence. You wouldn't go after them legally.
If he called me what he called Jeremy Vine,
right,
then I would. If he called me repeatedly, I mean, he sat on this show and misrepresented something about me. He told the world on this show, I think it might have been with you, about 6 years ago, that the business that I built wasn't built by me, it was built by everybody else. I was a passenger, a carrier, I had no intellect, and the business that I ripped it off. That's what he said. And he's so irrelevant to me, and it's so untrue, that I didn't even think about taking a criminal action against them. But I'm different. So my concern is not about what's been done. My concern is about the interpretation of the law and where you can say something which is a free speech opinion, which is based upon your opinion. You don't like somebody, you're able to say it. And when you turn it into something like he said about Jeremy Vine.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can say that.
Yeah. You can't say, if you see this fella by a primary school, call 999. Barton was found guilty by a jury at Liverpool Crown Court of sending grossly offensive electronic communications with intent to cause distress or anxiety. It's 11:30.
Mark Wood says he's gutted to be out of the Ashes with fresh knee problems. Surrey's Matthew Fisher will come in. England are 2-0 down with 3 to play. Aussie seamer Josh Hazlewood's also out of the series, but captain Pat Cummins is set to return for the third test in Adelaide next week. Now, talkSPORT's Jason Cundy thinks Mo Salah's comments could be an attempt to get Arne Slot the sack.
He's under big pressure. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not saying he's going to get sacked, but he's under pressure. Or the January transfer window coming up, he feels his future lies elsewhere. He's dropped this bomb just as the transfer window's open.
Salah's been left at home. Liverpool are in Milan to play Inter live on talkSPORT tonight. Slot says Salah's comments about being made a scapegoat for the team's poor form have made life harder for staff at Liverpool. After Man United's 4-1 win at Wolves, Ruben Amorim's described goalscorer Mason Mount as a leader.
It's a guy that leads by the example. It doesn't matter the situation. Mason Mount is always the same thing, training, talking, dealing with people around Carrington.
Wolves are still winless after 15 games and go to the Emirates next. Arsenal vs Wolves is live on talkSPORT this Saturday night. It's reported West Midlands police overruled UEFA advice not to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from Villa Park last month. Politicians are now scrutinising the force's handling of that Europa League game. More at talksport.com.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+GambleAware.org.
It's that time. We're joined by Matt Gibson from BetMGM. We're going to look at today's top sporting events and the odds round and about them. Well, certainly last night there was only one winner at Molineux, and it wasn't Wolves, was it, Matt? Good morning, mate.
Yeah, good morning, fellas. It's not a huge shock to be coming on and talking about a Man United win last night. They were 8-13 to go and do the business. And I think just looking at the stats this morning, I think they had 27 shots. So it's an absolute demolition job at Molineux last night. United, I don't think they were in the top half of the table before yesterday. Now they find themselves sixth, level on points with Chelsea. So it just shows how tight it is in behind those top two. I think, as a United, if you're a Man United fan, rather, you'd be fairly happy with sitting sixth and your form sort of going the right way. You're a Wolves fan, conversely, 1-40 to get relegated yesterday, 1-100 now. If Edwards can drag them out of this, it really is Manager of the Year, great escape stuff. But we were just looking at the turnover of players this morning, gents. And it kind of feels like this has been a long time coming. You cannot keep selling your top talent and not backfilling it. In 2020 and 2021, in that season, they had Vitinha on loan, who's obviously fabulous for PSG. Gibbs White left in 2022. Nunes, Neves, Jimenez left in 2023. Neto, Kilman go in 2024. Cunha and Aït-Nouri go in 2025. Kind of feels like it's been a slow death. There's 9 players there who you'd argue are all top talent. You can't afford to keep turning them over and surviving this division, can you?
Well, Clearly not, Matt. But Simon, the owners would say they did it because of PSR.
Well, that's been the argument for some time, hasn't it? Ultimately, they need to do it because they can't meet their obligations under PSR. Now, if that's true, that's a fact. So what do you do about that? That's the inherent unfairness of PSR in terms of that it gives teams no opportunity to be able to recover from investment in previous years. I think that irrespective of all of that, they should be doing better than 2 points. So we can take all of that into consideration and suggest that they were circling the drain and that eventually they're going to go down because they're not prepared to back the manager. But this is a guy that left Middlesbrough to go and manage his team. So he must have seen a vision, right?
Yeah.
So deliver the vision then. Off you go.
Yep, it's taking a bit of delivering, is it not, Rob? Champions League tonight then, Matt. Inter Milan, Liverpool, live in talkSPORT. Tottenham, Slavia, Prague, talkSPORT 2. Chelsea in action against Atalanta. Where do you want to go with it?
Yeah, I think looking at the English teams tonight, fellas, I think Spurs and Chelsea should do the business, right? It's fairly straightforward for them. Spurs 4-11 to beat Slavia Prague at home. I don't think Slavia Prague have scored in any of the last 4 Champions League games. And Chelsea, everyone knows they had a difficult week last week. They've got to go to Bergamo to play Atalanta tonight. But this is a team that are 12th in Serie A, only won 3 times domestically, only won 3 times in the Champions League. You'd like to think Chelsea will go and do the business there. I think the one that puts the English threefold in danger is very much into Liverpool, fellas. Liverpool a massive price, actually 49-20 to go and do the business. We all know Salah is left at home, and I don't know, fellas. Do you think it's the right call leaving out a player that has won games at this level, Premier League and European wise? They're not quite clicking at the moment, and he's sat on the bench. Do you think he's been unfairly treated, or do you think it's the right call?
Stick him in amongst the rest of the players so they can all watch the example he's just set. That'd be wonderful for the overall spirit of the club.
Yeah, of course.
You can't play.
Of course, you can't. You can't go near him at the moment, obviously, Matt, and he's not. But the fact of the matter is, though, Simon, if they were to lose tonight and lose heavily, and I don't think they will, but if they were to, the focus of attention would go from Salah to Slot, wouldn't it?
Yeah, fine. But the fact of the matter is they're not having a problem scoring goals, are they? They just scored 3 against Leeds, having a problem defending. And what does Mo Salah add in that department? Nothing.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Let's look at the Championship, Matt. There's a bunch going on there.
We did not want him to come on. Yeah, on Salah, we did not want him to come on Saturday night. Both fullbacks were on a booking for us. He was warming up. Fans did not want to see Mo Salah on the pitch. Say what you want about his attitude, which is obviously wrong, but we definitely did not want to see him
take
his kit off and run at Gabby.
But that's wonderful. That's wonderful, Matt. But Liverpool were winning the game. And so if they defended better, then they would have won the game either 2-0 or 3-2. And fair play to your lads to come back into the team and get back into the game and get 4 points in a week from 2 sides that they were expected to get neither from. But that was Liverpool's defence, nothing to do with Mo Salah coming on the field.
Fair point, Mr. Gibson.
I mean, best form of defence attack. Score another one, and make us come back from 2 goals down again. But I think to a degree, Sam, you're right. The game changed on the Canate penalty and gave us something to grip onto.
Anyway, that was then, and this is now, and now is Championship. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I always come in here and we talk a lot about Coventry, high flying, and Middlesbrough. Although Cov had a setback at the weekend, but Simon, I know you're quite a big fan of Chris Wilder. He's really getting Jeff Hugh off the bridle a little bit here. He was on 0 points, bottom of the div when he took over. They're now on 22, I think, 22 points, 8 points off the top 6.
You're a big fan of Chris?
He's really done well.
I expected an immediate impact. And I sent him a text when we were up in Scotland saying, "Are you going to win a bleeding game?" And they've now got themselves together because he can clearly manage that football club. Yeah. It was a ridiculous decision to fire him in the summer. And whatever I may have had differences of opinion with him about in previous years, and they were difference of opinion, that doesn't mean it carries on in perpetuity. So he can clearly do a job at Sheffield United. And I wouldn't be surprised. It's been done before, never quite to this level. But it's been done before. My team did it. Roy Keane did it in Sunderland times where they were right at the bottom of the league and got themselves into a playoff spot. Now, it's a massive ask. He needs 2 points a game. But you never know. You never know. And momentum is...
The 3-1 for top 6, 9-1 to be promoted by any means necessary. They're going all right in terms of form horses in the league. The 4 wins and a draw in the last 5. They're going all right.
That's right.
They have a good Christmas, mate. I think they'll be right there.
Indeed.
Okay. Matt, thank you very much indeed. That was Matt giving us a look as to who's doing what tonight and the odds round and about them. Visit betmgm.co.uk. Download the app. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
It is 10 to 12 this Tuesday lunchtime. Jim White and Simon Jordan live on talkSPORT. We're going to talk boxing in a second, of the misfits variety. Here's one though, Simon. How many second chances do Blackburn Rovers deserve? Blackburn have had a second home game abandoned this season because of heavy rain. The referee took the players off after 61 minutes, with Blackburn leading Sheffield Wednesday a goal to nil. That was just days ago. Blackburn saw their match against Ipswich back in September abandoned in the 80th minute when they were leading 1-0. The rearranged match took place last Tuesday and they conceded, wouldn't you believe it, a 90th minute equaliser, with the game finishing 1-1 draw. And now Rovers boss Valerian Ismail has said that he's willing to make sacrifices to his transfer budget only if it means the club will reallocate resources towards improving the pitch at Ewood Park.
Everyone got the right now to get some clarity, to get some guarantee. Why it's happened again, what will be the plan, and especially in the near future, to make sure that money has to be invested to renew the pitch. If it's so simple like that. Listen, if I can influence something, if we need to save money on the transfer market to add money to get a new pitch, I will be the first one to get it, because I want to see everyone happy. I want to see the fan coming in the stadium to make sure they can see the game till the end. I want to see my player to get the reward throughout the 90 minutes. If it's something I can do, I will do it. But we need now a clear plan. As I say, we need something clear on the table, and everyone can follow and understand.
So you'd accept less money in the transfer market to put this right?
If I have to do that sacrifice for the better of the club, I will do it. For the better of the pitch, I will do it.
I think we like Valerian, don't we? It's all very admirable, isn't it?
It's a lot of old cobblers. We didn't get transfer budget. I mean, I don't know how much Blackburn Rovers spend on transfers and whether it's even a conversation. I mean, we all know that the Blackburn Rovers fans loathe the Venkies. We all know that the decline of the football club has been significant, predominantly under their ownership, because nothing good has come out of their ownership. And we've seen it being played out. We've seen managers leave, and we saw the arguments last year about Eustace leaving, didn't we? Because he wanted to go somewhere else after being given a job at Blackburn Rovers or whatever else it was. So we saw all that. I mean, you would think that the basic premise of having a football pitch is something they can achieve. Now, I don't know why the pitch is flooding. I don't know what it is. We've not heard it history. I mean, maybe we have. Maybe they can tell us Ewood Park is one of those, is on a floodplain. I don't know. But we've not seen it previously.
I don't remember anything like it.
No, I remember. I mean, obviously, back in the day, Tim Sherwood told me once that they used to train on a park. When they won the Premier League, they trained on a park, and they used to tread in dog's poop. And that was under Jack Walker's ownership. So they still managed to win the Premier League. But that's not suggesting that's what they should have to do. But of course, you've got to have. I mean, I'll be curious to see what the EFL's attitude towards it is, because it disrupts their circumstances, doesn't it? It disrupts their fixture list. It's not in keeping with the ideal of the Championship being the Premier League 2 and one of the most supported leagues in domestic football, so it's not a good optic. And laying a pitch and putting fibre sand down and relaying the pitch is maybe £500,000, but it can't be done now. So you've got what you've got. You have to do it in the summer and reseed and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, it's chucking it down at the moment. What did I hear yesterday? You had a month's rain in a day.
You would have thought you would have thought they'd have pitch covers. You would have thought they'd have some irrigation. I mean.
But how many second chances do they deserve here? I mean, they've got to get it right, haven't they?
Well, again, what does a second chance look like? Who's giving them the chances? The fans are going to support the club. The manager's going to manage the club. And the EFL are going to hold them to account if they don't provide a pitch. We saw this in Scotland a season ago, didn't we? Where one particular club kept on. Which club was it? Was it Dundee?
I think it was at Dundee, wasn't it? I think it was Dens Park.
Kept on having games that were cancelled because of the waterlogging scenario.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we can get Del Vince on to talk us about climate.
There we go. We'll ask the Venkies what they're going to do about the pitch. There we go, and we'll see if we get an answer from them. Simon, boxing, but not as you and I would know it. Misfits Boxing. With KSI, the Sauerland brothers, we know all this, typically been the home for YouTubers. They've now launched the MF Pro Division, which aims to showcase traditional professional boxers alongside their crossover offerings. What the heck is this all about? This is what it's about.
Misfits, it's a clown show.
It's a complete circus. Yeah? It's WWE with gloves on.
It's not real boxing.
Millions of new DAZN subscribers.
Most viewed pay-per-view combat sports event of the year.
More social reach than any other promotion on the planet.
Not real boxing, right?
Nissa and Kala Sauerland, the brothers who built empires. 50 world champions and counting. Amir Abdullah, Team Tyson, boxing's best kept secret. KSI, pay-per-view killer, arena filler, the face of crossover boxing, not by luck, by force.
So what happens if we do real boxing?
What happens when the best in the world decide to fight here?
What happens when Misfits brings the same energy to the pros?
Real fighters.
Real rankings.
Real stakes. Real boxing. This is MF Pro.
Oh, wow. Bells and whistles there, wasn't it? So they've gone from Misfits to creating their own pro division, Simon. And you might have heard him there if you recognise his voice. Vidal Riley.
Yes.
One of their first signings, British cruiserweight champion, who won the British title in a unanimous decision win over Chievan Clark in April.
Indeed.
And on the Eubank Junior Ben undercard. Is there really enough space in the boxing ecosystem for another boxing promotion?
Yeah, why not? I mean, the more boxing that's played out, the more people are interested in it, the more broadcast opportunities are created, whether it's digitally or through mainstream broadcasting or through VOD, whether it's DAZN and people of that nature. The more eyes on the prize, the bigger the sport grows. If they're not very good, they won't find their space in it. If they are, and it's the thing about boxing is trying to build up engagement, trying to build up awareness, trying to build up a content mechanism that can actually keep on feeding the ecosystem of information about boxing. And it's great when you've got big fights, but there's always that lull. When we're doing talk boxing, it's always trying to keep the regularity, trying to build up information to be able to give people a constant. We do a show every day about football because football is the gift that keeps on giving, because it's got 20 teams in the Premier League, 72 teams in the Championship. It's got tribalism, it's got relationships, it's got emotivity, it's got a whole raft of things that keeps on feeding the ecosystem of engagement. And boxing, if it has more promoters putting on more events, entertaining more audiences, getting more participation, whatever version of it is, people can live with the categorization. Eddie, you heard in there, Eddie Hearn talking about is WWE with gloves. Fine, okay, know what it is, watch what you want.
Yeah,
and if it engages people,
there's an audience for it.
Yeah, you know what something is. We get all uptight and personal about the idea of certain things are this and certain things are that. I'm moving into a space of going, well, that's real sport. That's high-end, top draw, world-class, world-level sports. This is sports entertainment, which has a little bit of that, but a little bit of entertainment attached. And this over here is just entertainment, which is what Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua is. I don't see it as a serious fight. That's why I can legislate in my mind for having some degree of engagement with it, because it's the next version of entertainment in sport.
But this is Misfits getting professional, isn't it? Is there enough space for it, though?
Yeah, but I mean,
can it challenge the orthodoxy of Queensberry and Matchroom?
But yeah, I just said
that. But they own it, don't they? They own it, them and Saudi.
No, they have a good foothold in it, yeah, and they have very good opportunities and they have scale.
Good foothold?
Yeah, of course they do.
They run it, they dominate it.
But they didn't dominate it for long, did they? Because Turki Al-Sheikh rocked through the door and decided that he's now the new king of boxing. If you can do something well and you can fund it well, and you can be very good at what you do, you can create opportunities. So Turki Al-Sheikh comes into the boxing industry, drives a bus for everybody, and decides that he's the new master of destinies in boxing, and so much for Queensberry and for Matchroom.
Put it another way, can Misfits here do this what they call themselves, MF Pro Division? Can they do what Ben Shalom couldn't?
Depends. I mean, Ben Shalom will sit here and tell you that his raison d'etre is to be a profitable boxing promoter.
Oh, I know.
So he'll tell you that.
But he set out to get right in amongst Queensberry and Matchroom.
Well, I'm not sure what he set out to
do.
In
between the wall and the wallpaper.
The fact that he got a contract with Sky, and Sky was going through a change, and DAZN were becoming a platform that was very serious. Ben Shalom's main focus on Boxer is to make it profitable. He'll sit you here now and tell you that he's made quite a lot of money out of Chris Eubank versus Conor Benn.
I'm sure.
So he's a profitable business.
Yeah.
So not everyone has to have world domination at their centre. Not everyone has to be. Success is all relative. So these guys can come into the space, they can be good at what they're doing, they can have their own little niche, and they can be successful in it. They can grow the sport to some extent. They can be another division of the sport, and they can make profit.
And you're certain that they're happy just to have their own little niche?
Well, either that, or they'll get a big niche, or they'll challenge the orthodoxy, because once upon a time, Matchroom wasn't worth £1 billion. It is now, because it's been built. And not every business lasts forever. Not every football club dominates the landscape forever. Liverpool didn't win the Premier League for 30 years. They still remain themselves as a big football club.
Yeah.
So I think there's nothing wrong with ambition. There's nothing wrong with people creating new outcomes. And if they produce a good product, people watch it. They've got people like KSI. Now, not my cup of tea, not my flavour. You know, I watched him have his little two penneth with the footballer where he was deeply insulting about Wayne Bridge.
I remember that.
And I didn't like
Wayne
that very
Bridge,
much.
yeah.
But the guy, with due respect, my 17-year-old daughter watches his nonsense, and he's got a digital audience which is huge. Look at Jake Paul. Who and what is Jake Paul? But my God, look at him. So if I had said to you Jake Paul 5 years ago, you'd have gone, is he going to challenge Matchroom? Who's running this bleeding event? Matchroom? No, it's MVP.
All right.
It's Jake Paul, the biggest boxing event probably in sport.
Well, you'll find out more when you get there, won't you?
Oh, I've changed my mind, actually.
Oh, have you? I'll bet you have. What, the sunshine of Florida? I'll go in your place. It's 12 noon.
talkSPORT Sports Update powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 3 minutes past 12, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good afternoon. We're told Mo Salah could be a Saudi Pro League player as early as next month. Here's our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook.
It's hard to see any other top clubs around Europe being able to match the pay packet on offer in the Middle East. Al Hilal are the most keen, I'm told, in taking Salah.
Mo Salah's posted a lonely-looking selfie from Melwood. He's been left behind after claiming Liverpool made him a scapegoat for their poor form. Inter versus Liverpool is live on talkSPORT tonight from 7. Meanwhile, Xabi Alonso hasn't ruled out managing Liverpool in future.
Well, for sure, there's this bond with the English clubs, with my former club.
Alonso says Madrid is where he wants to be for now. He's under serious pressure with Real winning just one of their last 5 league games. Motherwell say John Dixie Deans will be remembered fondly for his exquisite goal scoring at Fir Park. He's died at the age of 79. Deans also won 6 titles with Celtic in the 70s, playing up front with Kenny Dalglish, and also won 2 Scotland caps. Now, does Formula One miss Christian Horner? Yes, in a way, says McLaren CEO Zak Brown.
It's unbelievable
team boss. Obviously, things went sideways the last couple years. I think he'll be back, but I think sport is filled with characters, good guys, bad guys, all different sorts, and I think that's what makes the sport fascinating.
Horner was sacked by Red Bull following an internal sexual misconduct investigation. And Mark Wood says he's gutted to be out of the Ashes with fresh knee problems. Surrey's Matthew Fisher comes in. Aussie seamer Josh Hazlewood is also out for the series. England 2-0 down with 3 to play. There's more on talkSPORT's Cricket YouTube.
talkSPORT News.
A report into British IRA spy finds he committed murder and torture, and the head of NHS providers say people with colds or coughs should wear masks. More from the news team in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Come rain or shine, we've got your electric car covered with 400 EV ready centres, so you can drive away happy every time.
Wet and windy with Storm Bram, especially in western Scotland. Rain gradually clearing eastwards by late afternoon. Sunny spells after that and the odd shower. Mild temperatures today.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
Good afternoon, everybody. 5 minutes past 12 noon. It is now Tuesday afternoon, the 9th of December. Jim White and Simon Jordan. We are live on talkSPORT, coming to you live on your TV as well, whether that's Fire TV, Apple TV, Google, even Prime Video. Wherever you want to watch the show, you can watch us on it. And we're delighted that you do, and the numbers that you do, that is for sure. So much going on out there. Some big Champions League matches tonight. And, of course, standing out a mile, Inter Milan against Liverpool.
You're going in there knowing that if you're defending that, so you can't say after the events happen, I'm not paying your sanction fees. Yet you've used them and their belt as a selling point for your fight. So I'm totally on board with that. If you want to make a stand, then fine, then don't fight for the title. But you can't do it after the event.
Simon, where are you at with Hamza Shiraz? Is this is his big moment? Step right into the limelight and shows what you can do, because I think underwhelming in February.
I think he's a brilliant fighter. I think he was disappointing against Carlos Adames, but I think we gave not enough credit to Carlos Adames in that fight and not enough credit in the build-up. Better levels from him against Edgar Bellinga. The real Hamza Shiraz, maybe the weight made a difference to him. And this is an opportunity. And Frank is a brilliant matchmaker. So the opportunity to fight for the WBC super middleweight belt is clearly on Hamza's horizon. And if this is the opportunity, I think it's a good opportunity, because I think he beats this kid. And kid's not a mug, but there's not enough on his record to suggest that Hamza Shiraz can't beat him. So I would suspect the experiences of the Carlos Adames fight and also the step up into super middleweight, the result against Bellinga, all prepare Hamza for what I think is his inevitable destiny, that he wins a world title.
Also ordered a notice, Frank, your man Moses Atoma against Lawrence Okoli as a heavyweight eliminator. Where are you at with that one?
Well, he's fighting, first of all. He's fighting on the 24th of January at the Co-op up in Manchester, which is going extremely well on the Magnificent 7 card, which is a cracking card. And we'll see what happens after that fight. He's got a tough fight up there against Jermaine. And, this is all about experience. He's in with a guy who's never, ever been stopped in 27 fights. And he's only lost 2. And this is going to be a big moment for him. So let's see how he comes through this one first before we go any further.
For sure. But Lawrence Okoli's trainer, Joe Gallagher, was with us last week. And he spoke about it. I mean, the suggestion being that the Atoma team in Queensbury won't want Okoli. Have a listen.
Personally, myself, I don't think it happens. I think they've got plans for Moses. They've got a plan. I don't think Lawrence does. One of them plans, I may be proved wrong. But obviously, he was after the Yulev Gassiev. Until Gassiev got the fight, he most would be after the winner of that. Then he was ordered the Sanchez final eliminator. He withdrew with that. And then there was talk about him and Wardley, who should give up the belt for them two to fight each other. That'll never happen because they have the one trainer with Ben Davidson. So, listen, as quick as Ben Whittaker, Josh Boatsi was made yesterday, it was quickly undone by the end of the play, with Eddie saying that won't happen. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, both boys are under the Queensbury banner, and Lawrence and Moses are both training. They're in camp at the moment, and think discussions for this won't start really happening until both boys have got these fights out of the way.
I mean, you and Lawrence wouldn't dodge. You and Moses wouldn't dodge Lawrence Okoli, would you, Frank?
No, nor would Lawrence dodge Moses. But as Joe just said, they both got fights coming up. So let's focus on them first of all and see what happens afterwards. May enhance the fight. I hope it does. But there's quite a few options there, and obviously we're doing the best for all our guys, which we have done. A lot of these fighters weren't getting any recognition in the heavyweight division, and we're making the fights happen on a regular basis.
What's the reaction, Frank, from you and Fabio about Usyk's decision not to defend or to fight Fabio Wardley? Has no interest in that fight, would have had an interest in the Joseph Parker fight if Joseph Parker had won, and wants to fight Deontay Wilder. What's your overall reaction to that little state of affairs?
Well, before the fight, he did say that he would fight the winner. He did go on record as saying that, and since then he said no. I think and if I was his manager, I'd be looking, or himself, and he's a smart operator, Alex is, and he's done everything that's been asked of him, and he's looking at fights now for risk and reward. And I just feel that he thinks that the risk for the reward is not justified. Although I believe we would sell out a football stadium with that fight. You know, you think how many we done, 25,000 up in Ipswich on a real rainy night with Fabio, and you think if he's in with Usyk, you'd do a Tottenham all day long. So we'll see where we go with it. But you know, Fabio will be boxing in April. And we're working. I'm meeting up with him and his manager next week. We're going to have some lunch and work out what we're doing. And we've also got Nick Ball. We'll be announcing at the end of the week his the venue for his defence, mandatory defence against Brown.
As well, I mean, what a time it is for boxing.
It's a brilliant time for boxing. I mean, we're just doing our first Soul show. Us solely doing a show in Germany, in Dusseldorf, with Ajit Kabayel. We sold out. We sold out in 3 days with that event. And there's a fight down the road there, I think, between, if he comes through it, Ajit, him and Daniel Dubois, which is a cracker of a fight.
Are you disappointed, Frank, to see Eddie Hearn move Ben Whittaker away from any potential matchup with Joshua Buatsi?
I am. I wanted to do that fight. I thought it'd been a good fight to make, and but look, you know, they're moving in a different direction. But we've got quite a few good light heavyweights on our roster, so there's going to be a clash with one of them soon. That's for sure. But it's, you know, as you say, it's a brilliant time for boxing. We're doing extremely well. British boxing's on a high. The only downer is there are so many boxers leaving the country now, moving abroad because of the situation with the tax, which I think is terrible for the country, terrible for the future fighters, future young fighters, their role models moving abroad. It doesn't send a good message out, but that seems to be what is happening with some of these ridiculous tax situations and what they're doing. I mean, you know, this country trying to tax its way to prosperity, it never ever works. It never will work. And they're driving, not, you know, everybody thinks about people who have got massive amounts of money leaving the country and who cares. Well, you know, that does a lot of damage to the country. But young sportsmen who've not made their money yet, you know, just started out and moving out of this country is really, really alarming.
Really? In terms of the number and in terms of the profile, we're talking some high-profile names.
Well, there's all levels, and ex-fighters just moving. They're just going, and it's really, you know, I find it most depressing that, you know, in an industry that we've got, in a sport that we're extremely good at in this country, and we deliver regularly. We have these big events on a regular basis. They deliver to the fans, the feel-good factor. It's a great advert for Britain. It's the money it generates, not just in boxing, the local hotels, restaurants, and everything. All that is being threatened now in a big way. I mean, even what they're doing, the government now with all the venues, doubling the prices or up in a big way prices that are going to make it more expensive to book the venues. It's just nuts what's going on here. There is no. It just seems to me it's just trying to kill business. They've done the hospitality business. I think now they're trying to finish everything else off.
Frank, you're going to have to move house, mate. We're going to have to get you into 11 Downing Street, and soon.
I've got to tell you something. I think I'll do a bit better than her, that's for sure.
Frank, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Soon to be Chancellor of the Exchequer, Frank Warren, with us live. Frank's got a point, has he not, Simon?
Of course he's got a point. Not wrong. I mean, ultimately, the state of this country beggars belief at times. But the fact of the matter is that people are leaving this country, sportsmen are leaving this country because of either the quality of life or the tax situation. But notwithstanding that, boxing is thriving. You know, your broadcasters being acquired left, right, and centre. TNT have just been acquired. You know, in a different model that will create different outcomes. I was going to ask him about that. But you know, boxing as a sport is going from strength to strength, and that's what we were talking about earlier on when you said
largely down to Saudi.
Oh, well, in part, but you know, let's also remember who ushered them through the door. Him. You know, I took the mickey out of him repeatedly about the Ngannou fight, but it was a gatekeeper, and everyone else has flowed in behind it. And the Saudis are pulling back now. They're rationalising their expenditure. So boxing has to stand on its own feet to some extent. It can't have the Never Never Land of how much people are prepared to pay to see these super fights. But you're building up. Broadcasters are building up. There are more deals to be done. DAZN are doing what they do. The BBC have reinvested in a different way to create different outcomes for Ben Shalom. We'll see that where that takes them. You got the Jake Pauls of the world doing what they're doing with Netflix. So at the end of the day, the sport keeps on evolving, which at one point, boxing looked like it was in significant jeopardy.
Am I right in thinking you got into a bit of a tete-a-tete with Joe Gallagher?
And Joe being Joe, we just wanted to reposition it because he was the one that said it. He sat in the studio and said that Lawrence Okoli gives Usyk all the trouble that he could want.
Yeah.
And I laughed at it then. I brought it back on again last week.
Does Okoli beat Atoma?
No, I don't think so. No. I mean, but listen, I want Lawrence to do well. You've met Lawrence; he's a really nice boy and he's talented. The only thing with Lawrence is that you know I've got a preconceived bias about the fact that he didn't do things at cruiserweight that they thought he should have done.
Yeah,
heavyweight might be the division for him.
You like him?
Good.
So we are almost ready to go. Ian Danter here in the commentary box. But it is all about whether Dean Saunders can retain the talkSPORT World Championship. To win the leg. She's got it! Gets it! Double nine! He refuses the handshake.
Just gone 20 past 12 this Tuesday lunchtime. Jim White and Simon Jordan live on talkSPORT. Simon, you get it, I get it. A fair amount of attention from people, and by and large, we're thrilled to get it because people want to talk to us about this show. So it's welcome attention, but sometimes, and in this case, it goes down to the category of unwanted attention. Ivan Toney, he was arrested at the weekend after he allegedly headbutted an individual who is said to have grabbed him for a selfie in a London bar. The alleged incident took place in Soho the early hours of Saturday. According to eyewitnesses, the trouble said to have flared when another man tried to pull Toney forward to take a selfie after grabbing hold of his neck. And Toney urged the man, "Get off me," before reportedly, allegedly, striking him with his head. The Met Police have said, "We were called to Wardour Street in the early hours of Saturday morning following reports of an assault. The victim was taken to hospital. Injuries not believed to be life-changing, life-threatening. A 29-year-old man was arrested at the scene on suspicion of 2 counts of assault, 1 count of affray. He's since been released on bail while inquiries continue." I mean, does this come with the territory of being, I suppose you could say, a public figure? Someone who's in the public spotlight?
It comes in the territory of being a professional footballer. And being in the middle of the West End at 1:45 in the morning and putting yourself in that position. Now, we all know that you should be able to come and go as you please, and irrespective of what you do and what you don't do and what people's perception of you is. But when you do that, you put yourself at risk for the idiot fringe that want to behave in a certain way towards you. I've seen it being done towards me at times, and I'm an older, maturer man than maybe Ivan is, so I react in a different way to the fact that he would. He's a combative centre forward that plays with a physical edge and probably didn't take too kindly to someone invading his space. Now, whether he should have been there, whether his judgment is impaired about where he should keep company, and I don't think it's ideal for a high-profile footballer, an England international, to be in the West End at 1:45 in the morning. Now, some would say, well, they should be able to go and come wherever they want. Okay, and then you get these sort of circumstances. We see it go back for time immemorial. We saw Gascoigne years ago going into situations. We've seen players all the time that are in circumstances where situations manifest themselves. And I think it's unwise to put yourself in those environments. Now, what would I do if I was his owner of his club? I would wait to hear what the police were going to do. They've arrested him because there's been an instance. If they charge him, then we'll deal with the consequences of it then. If they don't charge him, then I'll just give him a piece of advice about maybe using his judgment better about where he decides to go out and about.
When you were younger and had the wealth you had and the profile you had at Crystal Palace, did you react differently to the way that Ivan allegedly has reacted here?
Well, I'm not a big strapping centre forward that plays a physical football game.
No, I know that, but you were known.
Man.
You were known to people.
Yeah, I know.
You are known to people.
I know, and I got lots of abuse. I got lots of abuse in Spain where I lived. I got lots of people who thought it was funny to take the mickey or to say something about me or whoever I might have been dating at the time, or my team's in inherent bad form or whatever. But that goes with the territory. I'm not that kind of person that needs to be taking physical affronts. I wouldn't put myself in that situation. I had it a few times where people wanted to take it to that space, and I just, people can say, well, you didn't have the balls to have a fight. I need to have a fight. I don't want to have a fight. Ivan's cut from something different. He's a nice boy, so is his dad. I know his dad. I know his dad.
Yeah.
And they'll be disappointed with this situation. He has a strong personality. He's done some things in his life that people would question the judgment on. Here's another one. In terms of putting yourself in the way of it. If you put yourself in that environment, maybe you've got to be able to be prepared for the ramifications of it, because nobody wants, not him, not his dad, not in the football club he plays for, wasn't a headline saying ex-Premier League international footballer arrested for headbutting someone. Now, he may well be totally justified. Someone might have really taken a liberty with him and he defended himself. Or he might have been hot-headed and short-tempered. I don't know. But the fact of the matter, if he wasn't there, it wouldn't have happened.
Well, that's right.
Probably
there are allegations, Simon. There are allegations.
Well, they're a bit more allegations. They've nicked him. So the fact is, the police have nicked him.
Yeah.
So that so there is a position. Now, my primary concern would be is if he gets charged. If he doesn't get charged, I would still be saying to him, use better judgment. I know. You should be able to come and go as you want. We all should be able to do things in this world that we can't do because other people stop us from doing it. So don't put yourself in that situation. And if you can't handle people getting in your space because it irritates you, then don't be in that space.
And notice there has been talk of a Premier League return for Ivan in January. How
well's he doing over there?
Does that put a spanner in the works to that? I mean, scoring goals over there.
No. I mean, Christ on a bike. People signed Duncan Ferguson after he went to prison, didn't they? I mean, the fact of the matter is that circumstances are what they are, and people accept it and price it into their thinking. And if they know the player, they interview the player, and the player, when you're paying big money for him, you should make sure that the characteristics of the player are right for your football club, and part of that may well be how you live your life. And by the way, how you live your life is, I saw this in the newspaper a couple of months ago, was this what we have to look forward to? And it gets explained or doesn't get explained.
Well, as I say, there are allegations, although allegedly he was arrested at the weekend, and the Met Police have confirmed it without identifying him. And we'll see where it goes. Ivan Toney, though, these days playing out in Saudi Arabia for the Saudi club Al Ahly. He joined them in 2024. In the meantime, it's 12:30 on this day, Tuesday, December the 9th.
Mark Wood says he's gutted to be out of the Ashes with fresh knee problems. Surrey's Matthew Fisher will come in. England are 2-0 down with 3 to play. Aussie seamer Josh Hazlewood's also out of the series, but captain Pat Cummins is set to return for the third test in Adelaide next week. Now, talkSPORT's Jason Cundy thinks Mo Salah's comments could be an attempt to get Arne Slot the sack.
He's under big pressure. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not saying he's going to get sacked, but he's under pressure. Or the January transfer window coming up, he feels his future lies elsewhere. He's dropped this bomb just as the transfer window's open.
Salah's been left at home. Liverpool are in Milan to play Inter live on talkSPORT tonight. Slot says Salah's comments about being made a scapegoat for the team's poor form have made life harder for staff at Liverpool. After Man United's 4-1 win at Wolves, Ruben Amorim's described goalscorer Mason Mount as a leader.
It's a guy that leads by the example. It doesn't matter the situation. Mason Mount is always the same thing, training, talking, dealing with people around Carrington.
Wolves are still winless after 15 games and go to the Emirates next. Arsenal versus Wolves is live on talkSPORT this Saturday night. It's reported West Midlands police overruled UEFA advice not to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from Villa Park last month. Politicians are now scrutinising the force's handling of that Europa League game. More at talksport.com.
Well, the talkSPORT Darts Trophy is back tomorrow in partnership with QuickFit. World champion Luke Littler has pulled the names out of the hat, so the draw is confirmed. We've Dean the Storyteller Saunders against Jermaine the Saint Pennant, Gabby the Gab Father Agbonlahor against Andy Gilforce Goldstein, Jamie the Chunk O'Hara against Jason One Bull Cundy, Darren the Truth Bent will face the favourite in many people's eyes, Natalie the Destroyer Sawyer. That's all the action tomorrow in H&J from 1 with the final in Drive from 4, all thanks to our friends at QuickFit. Tune in or watch the whole thing live on talkSPORT's YouTube channel. Simon, what do you make of this? Jake Paul fighting AJ in Florida, the 19th, isn't it, of this month?
Friday week, yes.
Friday week. So today, 9 a.m. Eastern Time over in the US. What's that in real money? 2 p.m. over here.
3, yeah.
Jake Paul is telling us, major update, had to be done. It is what it is. What do you think his major update? It had to be done, and it is what it is.
God only knows. I know that he's been sparring with, amongst others, Lawrence Okoli, hasn't he? And the rumour is that Lawrence Okoli gave him a great big black eye. So maybe we'll see him looking all panda-like.
That's what you get when you spar with real boxers. Do you think the fight will go ahead?
Well, there seems to be so much invested in it. Netflix are very serious about it, you know. So I would anticipate that it does, but you never know with these things, do you? I mean, the whole world, for whatever reason, is interested in this event. Everybody will go to it, irrespective of their proclamation of what they think of the fight. And I'd be surprised if it got called off, but you never know, do you?
No, you never know.
People have been tipping it and saying, I think this is not going to happen because it's just another opportunity to self-promote. This is what Jake Paul is. Fair play to him, by the way, because what is he? I mean, he's become a phenomenon in terms of economic returns. For what? I mean, for what? But hey, fair play to him. Good.
Well, you'll be able to watch it at close quarters.
Well, we've seen him on. We don't need to. I saw him against Tommy Fury.
Oh, you're going?
Yeah. Well, whether I do or not is a different matter. But the actual idea that he's utilising boxing to monetise himself. He'd already monetised himself prior to that. He was already a flying machine in terms of economic returns, and you scratch your head and wonder why.
So you think is it one in the dish from Lawrence Okoli and might be thinking twice about it?
I'm assuming he's been preparing for this fight and preparing. He was going to fight, Gervonta Davis, wasn't he? I mean, there's some small matter of £75 between them doesn't seem to have made any difference to the sanctioning bodies. But listen, this is a whole different animal, and getting in with Anthony Joshua, but he must know this. I mean, I spoke to Eddie Hearn about it the other day. He's, labouring under the illusion that Jake Paul is completely unconscious, may well be at the end of the fight,
yes.
But not conscious of the risks that he's put himself amongst.
Yeah,
it can't not be. I mean, everyone that's got half a brain. This kid's not silly. I mean, everyone's in his slipstream in terms of digital marketing because the kid's got the zeitgeist.
Well, you need to text me where you are in the stadium so I can pick you out. You'll be very near the front seat, no doubt.
According to them, right at the back. Which is probably another reason why I don't want to go.
Here's the thing. Over in that part of the world the other day, the World Cup draw was made. England begin their campaign against Croatia in Dallas, then a second game against Ghana, one of my favourite countries in Africa, in Boston, and the final group fixture against Panama in New Jersey. Scotland, oh wow, drawn against Brazil. Morocco, I was in Morocco when they were drawn, they went crazy. And Haiti make up the group. But we've also found out that FIFA have announced that every game of the World Cup next year will pause for 3 minutes in the middle of each half for a hydration break. The new measure essentially sees matches split into 4 quarters and was discussed with coaches and broadcasters alongside the draw. All very American.
Heat.
Heat. Yeah, but will the game of 2 halves soon become a thing of the past? I mean, we've had World Cups in Mexico. We've had them in Qatar. Is it because it's in America that we're seeing these timeouts?
You think it's a commercial opportunity? Maybe. You wouldn't put it past anybody to think along those lines. But we've seen it creeping into the game for some time now, haven't we?
I mean, the broadcasters will advertise in those breaks.
I'm sure they will. But is that the reason why it's being constructed? I don't know. We've seen it creeping in. We've seen drinks breaks being brought into. We've seen it in British soccer. So it's not something we're not familiar with. So I'm not particularly offended by it. I mean, we've got players that are going to be playing in extreme temperatures. I mean, we were told, don't forget, that when they played in Qatar, that the stadiums were going to be air conditioned, and also that the time of year was influential in the decision making. And it wasn't that hot in Qatar, was it?
No, not particularly.
So there we are then.
No.
But in America, it's going to be very hot. And I know you're going to go back to Mexico 86 and Mexico 70 and say that it didn't. Well, people will say there's lots of things you didn't do 40 years ago that you now do now.
Oh, true. But I mean, it disrupts momentum. I mean, Scotland could be 2 or 3 up against Brazil and then there's a break in play.
That'd be silly.
And that's obviously what you don't want.
That's why you need to be hydrated, because it's obviously affecting your thinking.
Elsewhere, a dedicated pride match at the World Cup will feature 2 countries.
Oh, there's an absolute necessity.
Where homosexuality is illegal. June the 26th, Seattle will kick off Pride Weekend, and the city had designated the fixture at Lumen Field as its Pride match. The game's going to see Egypt face Iran, nations which both have strong anti-LGBTQ laws. It's organised by the local committee. It's not affiliated with FIFA, but it's been labelled as an expression of Seattle and Washington State's commitment to creating a welcoming and inclusive environment where everyone belongs. Players, fans, residents, visitors.
They do already.
Alike.
They do already. I mean, this idea that we have to spend our time focused on people's sexuality evades me. We live in a world where sophisticated thinking is capable, and who someone sleeps with is nobody else's business besides themselves. And so why I have to be endlessly confronted with this idea that we need to celebrate Gay Pride Month and whatever else, it evades me. But clearly the people that campaign for these things have their own motivations, have their own agendas, and have their own way of doing things. I don't know whether this is ironic or showing progress in these countries that they're trying to evaluate, or if you've got 2 countries that have.
Well, this was decided before the draw, having said that.
Sure.
It just so happens the Pride match will feature Egypt and Iran.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it shows that these countries are making progress in that particular scenario, and ultimately changing their way of thinking, whether the players themselves have a different way of thinking besides the country that they live in. I don't know. What we've seen previously is various players objecting to having to wear certain things. Are we going to get a game full of that then? We're going to get 22 players on a field that object to being there. I mean, the idea that football can't just be for football's sake, clearly the place is falling apart. The idea that football can't just be for football's sake is something that disappoints me endlessly, but perhaps I've got to grow up and accept it.
I mean, some things you just got to, you look at it and take it for what it is. I mean, that also includes FIFA's Peace Prize that was awarded to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a different World Cup already, and we're still months away from it, aren't we? When you see that the president of the host nation, Trump, is getting a Peace Prize from FIFA. And Infantino has been lambasted for it, so have FIFA.
Yeah. Is he politicking though, Trump? I mean, we know that the World Cup's being awarded to Qatar and Saudi and the ownership of football clubs via the Middle Eastern regions are about creating different outcomes for themselves, which they're perfectly entitled to have, but they are using sport to achieve it. Is Trump using sport to impart his particular brand of wisdom? Because he don't give a monkey's what other people think. He does what he does anyway. He doesn't need sport. He's got the biggest voice in the world. He can't give himself a bigger platform than be the president of the United States and being the person that most news stations are setting up news networks around. So I don't think he needs sport to do anything. I think he is a narcissist, and he has an intent of being in centre stage. But that is it going to detract from the sport? Now, Infantino's a sycophant. We know that. Why does FIFA think that anybody's bleeding interested in you awarding a peace prize?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that former FIFA president Sepp Blatter, of all people,
good standing, yes,
took a swipe at Infantino, saying Infantino appears to be more interested in wooing world leaders than what is right for football. The peace prize FIFA will give to Trump is outrageous. And Infantino has made Saudi Arabia the new directors of the sport. And of course, he also had a swipe at Infantino and FIFA for the Cristiano Ronaldo ban that now isn't really a ban because Ronaldo can play.
None of this that Blatter would have done. I mean, the peace award, yeah, I can perhaps see that he wouldn't have done that. He might have awarded it to himself.
Well, why didn't they award the Emir of Qatar a peace prize award?
Because he wasn't at the time. Because he wasn't at the time supposedly brokering peace in Gaza and trying to.
Well, he's not having much luck, is he?
Well, he's had more luck than most people have done. We've got.
So he says.
We've got European governments giving just enough money to perpetuate a war, while everyone's saying that we should go and fight Russia, but no one wants to put their kids involved in it. So there is an element of he's trying to do something. Whether you like his style, whether you like his messaging, whether you disagree with him politically, doesn't mean that there isn't an intent. And I actually admire the idea that people want to make their country great and be proud of it. And if Trump embodies that, a bit more of this over here, a little bit less of what we've got over here, which is talk the country down, tell everyone that they're bleeding racist and misogynist, and eventually drive all the talent out of the country.
You just look at it, though. Where are we going with it? You know, dynamic pricing, an expansion to 48 teams, peace prizes to Il Presidente.
Well, dynamic pricing has existed forever in music industry. It's not something that's new. Unfortunately, it's now
It's the first time ever in the World Cup.
Supply and demand and commercialisation and the scale of it. And
people will be ripped off.
Well, you know, the people will have to pay the price of a product that ultimately is unique. The World Cup comes around once every 4 years. There's only so many tickets available to it.
Let's make a killing.
But it's commercial.
They're not using dynamic pricing for the Euros in 2028.
Are they not?
In this country.
But interestingly, it'd be.
But Donald is.
We can make. It's not his money though, is it?
No.
You say Donald is, but where's the money going? It's going to FIFA. So FIFA then distribute it back into the game. So if we're so concerned about the well-being of the ecosystem of sport, and we believe that FIFA is actually doing what it should be doing, which it isn't, by the way, but let's assume for this purpose of this conversation, it is, and it's a not-for-profit organisation, then what is the offence of generating money to go back into the game to develop it around the world?
And that's what's going to happen, is it?
Well, that's what FIFA's modus operandi is supposed to be.
Yeah, supposed to be.
If we think
dynamic pricing means that the man in the street is going to go out there and pay an absolute fortune for a ticket that he never expected to pay.
But supply and demand. The man on the street, most men on the street aren't going, right? It's only available to a certain amount of people anyway. There's 65 million people in this country. We're talking about 1 in every 10,000 could go anyway. So it's only a small amount of people. And the fact of the matter is, if the money's going into Infantino's pocket, then we can make that argument. But if it's going into the well-being of sport, then whilst we might not like the pricing policy, if nobody buys the tickets, nobody goes. The fact that we sold 10 times over is the commercial reasons behind it. And if the money goes back into sport, then we should be moderately accepting of it.
So a lot of this ticket money is going back into the well-being of sport.
Well, that's what its purpose is.
What does that look like?
Well, it develops different underdeveloped countries. It gives places like Ghana and places like that to have an opportunity to develop their football pyramid. It's supposed to go into that space. It should also be distributed back into the individual federations, so we see facilities all around the world improving. That's what it's supposed to do. Now, you regularly see and hear of people giving grants. You see FIFA going off and making a 4-act play about a grant they've given to XYZ football academy in XYZ country.
That's what they're meant to do.
Yes. So what's the problem then?
Brazil, Morocco, Haiti. Yeah, it's doable. 10-1.
almost ready to go. Ian Danter here in the commentary box. And it is all about whether Dean Saunders can retain the talkSPORT World Championship. To win the leg. She's got it! Gets it! Double nine! He refuses the handshake.
Now, talkSPORT and Pitch Experiences are giving you the chance to experience the event of the year, the PDC World Darts Championship at Ali Pali on the 23rd of December. You and three pals could be living at large with platinum seats, fine dining, a complimentary bar, and exclusive access to the 501 lounge with Russ the Voice Bray. And then it's straight to your prime arena table for the best view in the house. Get ready for an unforgettable Ali Pali Christmas. And here's how you can enter. For your chance to win, text DARTS to 83338. Text costs £2 plus your standard network rate, or call 03434217508. The lines close at 4 o'clock on the 18th of December, and that's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus and UK residents only. So for your chance to win, text DARTS now to 83338. It's a network promotion. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com. That is then. This is now, or at least tonight. Bayern Munich against Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League, live on talkSPORT 2. Inter Milan, Liverpool in the Champions League, live on talkSPORT. And live on talkSPORT 2 in the Champions League, Tottenham against Slavia Prague. Simon, on Tottenham, Thomas Frank, where will he ultimately be judged this season? In the Premier League or in Europe?
Premier League, I suspect, because the need to be back in the back in the Champions League next season will be prevalent, which means that they're not going to. I don't see them winning the Champions League anytime soon. So, in order to be back in it next year, to keep the engines going economically, they need to be successful in the Premier League. The fans will judge them by that, I suspect. They're not going to win a European competition again this year, so it is about the Premier League, really. They can have some notable performances, and if you think getting beat 5-3 by PSG is a notable performance because you were so poor in previous weeks, then maybe you have those moments. I think you just got to be given a bit of time. The people are starting to process, was it fit? Was it the right fit? He's a decent manager, he's a good manager. The shirt of Tottenham is heavier than the shirt of Brentford, but you've got to take these incremental steps, and there's logical incremental step. There was one or two managers that I thought were logical for the Spurs situation, Frank being one, and Oliver Glasner being the other. If it were me, I would have taken Glasner, but then I'm talking about losing a manager from the club that I support. So whilst I'm being objective about it, but I think Frank will eventually find his way through the minefield of managing Tottenham Hotspur, get the players that he wants, get them playing the way he wants them to play. He hasn't been left with much, quite frankly. That's not a good squad. I mean, that's not a great legacy from Daniel in terms of look at the group of players they've got. They're not well beaters.
Sure. Well, Mo Salah has been dominating the headlines. Yves Bissouma of Tottenham has had a few headlines of his own. Thomas Frank refused to comment on allegations of Bissouma inhaling nitrous oxide. The Sun published footage of the midfielder allegedly doing just that on Saturday, and Frank was asked about it.
One player we know who won't feature is Yves Bissouma. Can I confirm there's a disciplinary process underway, and if you've spoken to him?
It's an internal matter that we are dealing with at the moment, and when we have dealt with that, then I will have a comment on it.
So that's how Thomas dealt with it. But we've been here before, Simon. Basuma was given a 1-game suspension following him posting a video on his own social media of him appearing to inhale laughing gas. He apologised after the incident at the time. He called it a severe lack of judgment. The then head coach Ange Postecoglou, remember him? He was critical in his stance on the player.
In this case, it's Biss, and he's made a really poor decision. And you want to understand that, and you want to try and help him through that. And as a club, what we can do to make sure he doesn't make those kind of choices and decisions in the future. He has responsibilities. He has responsibility to the club. He has responsibility to his teammates. He has responsibility to our supporters, everyone associated with the club, and he's failed in those duties. So there's got to be sanctions to that. So he won't be available for Monday. We've suspended him for Monday's game, but. Beyond that, there's also some trust building that needs to happen between Biss and me and Biss and the group. And that's what he needs to work hard at from now on to try and win that back.
I mean, Simon, this is the same Basuma who was dropped for Tottenham's opening game of the season in the summer as a punishment for repeat lateness under Thomas Frank. I mean, how many chances do you give repeat offenders?
How much you pay for him? Look, I mean, he's obviously not very bright, is he? Because you don't put yourself in the position. First of all, I don't know why anyone would want to do nitrous oxide. I mean, I know it's laughing gas. I know people do it for their own reasons, but you're a professional athlete. It has a debilitating effect. It doesn't work for you. It works against you. So, and why you'd be in a position where people, if you were doing it, that people were getting photographs of you doing it. It's just beyond me how stupid you have to be.
It's a Class C drug as well. They paid 25 million for him in 2022.
Nitrous oxide is something you use in propellant cans of whipped cream, isn't it? As well. The fact of the matter is that, and maybe that's part of it. God knows what he's getting up to with whipped cream. Maybe we can work that out in a different discussion. But the idea that he gets himself in these situations is just ridiculous. And you get to start. Do it once, you're a bit Wally. Do it twice, you're borderline on being a moron. But do it 3 times, then there's something clearly wrong with your judgment. Yeah. And if you can't be trusted to live your life in a certain way, then you can't be trusted to be a representative of a big football club, and maybe it's time to get rid.
You don't need to name them, but at Palace, did you have a player who was a repeat offender who gave you a problem after problem after problem and you had to deal with it?
Not really. I mean, there was a thin line. I mean, first of all, I left a lot of the discipline to the managers. And if it got to my desk, with all due respect, without bigging myself up, it got said once. And it wasn't the debate. There wasn't any miscommunication. They didn't walk out of the room going, gee, what did he mean? They understood clearly.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't that kind of culture and it wasn't a big enough club in terms of the scale of opportunity for players to misbehave. But we had circumstances where players were silly and made judgments of error.
Yeah.
But they didn't tend to repeat them.
Okay, let's see how they do anyway, because Spurs Slavia Prague in the Champions League is live on talkSPORT 2. We'll be live at 10 tomorrow. Happy?
Thrilled.
Lovely. We're at 1 o'clock. It's Tuesday lunchtime.